Introducing the Affordable Standpipe Prop, another innovative solution by Affordable Drill Towers. The Affordable Standpipe Prop is a realistic training prop that allows you to conduct real-world training in your classroom and flow water in your parking lot. Crafted with efficiency and affordability in mind, the Affordable Standpipe Prop is designed to meet the needs of engine company training. We took the fire suppression system of a 7-story building, compressed it into 4.5 feet, and mounted it horizontally on our proprietary cart. For durability, the manifold is constructed of 4-inch Schedule 40 galvanized pipe with 7 2.5-inch outlets. Enjoy effortless maneuverability from 4 heavy-duty casters, 2 that are fixed and 2 that swivel with double locking brakes makes wheeling this prop a breeze. Yet, the locking casters prevent movement when flowing water. The entire unit is sandblasted. An epoxy powder coat finish is applied, followed by a red top powder finish. 2 reinforced shelves allow for transport and storage of fire hose, appliances, and tools. The basic model includes a 2.5-inch Siamese fire department connection, 6 2.5-inch angle hose valves, a system pressure gauge, and a sprinkler head with a control valve and water motor gong. The 7th outlet comes capped. The Affordable Standpipe Prop is available with your choice of Fireground adjustable pressure reducing valves from Elkhart Brass, Zurn, and Giacomini. You can also add the Dixon PRD, a screw-on adjustable pressure restricting device, a 7th standard hose valve, an additional sprinkler head, or the optional speed swivel appliance that can be used on the FDC. We pressure test the Affordable Standpipe Prop to 300 psi so that you can pump realistic fireground pressures. If you need custom threads, a specific FDC, have any questions, or need a quote, just let us know. Elevate your training regimen with the Affordable Standpipe Prop, setting a new standard in fire department training excellence. Reach us at 84455 Towers or info@affordabledrilltowers.com.
Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 250. And my guest is none other than Chief Ike, Chief Curt Isakson. He is a 30-plus year veteran of the fire service with experience working in volunteer, career, combination, urban, suburban, rural, you name it. He is a lifetime student of the fire service. He is currently a battalion chief in Escambia County Fire Rescue. He is highly sought after educator and speaker. If there is a conference worth going to, Chief Ike has spoken there. For 10 years now, he brought in hundreds and hundreds of firefighters together at Pensacola Beach with his world-class conferences. I could go on and on talking about everything this man has done. That doesn't even include the articles he has written, the studies he has done, but that's not why we are here. Let's talk people before water. Gallons per second, embrace the target, tactics put out fires. It's worth the risk. It is my absolute honor to have you on as the guest of Weekly Scrap number 250. Welcome, my brother. Welcome, my friend, Curt Isakson. He is one of the smartest people in the fire service, and it is absolutely my pleasure to have him on as the guest of Scrap number 250. Welcome.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited about it. It seems like last month we did 200 and it's been a year. So congratulations to you, man. 250. Like, you don't realize what that is. Like, that's grinding it out consistent. It's so easy to do something for a week, a month, a year, but to do 250, I mean, easy numbers. That's 5 years.
No, brother, I am super proud and super humbled and blown away by the relationships formed and the people I get to call friends. And so thank you for being here to celebrate it. Is there anything I missed in the intro? Anything you want to add?
Nah, just best job in the world. I love it.
Absolutely. All right, audience, there's a lot of them here. I'm going to try and read a few comments. I'm going to try. because they've been getting amped up for the last at least 30, 40 minutes. Ready for Ty Daniel said, ready for Ike to rock it out. Listening in from Cottondale, Florida in the 850. Steve Mouch said, Chief who? Jason Gregory said, let's get ready to rumble. Dan Bender said, I'm doing a shot every time Corley drinks from his tumblers tonight. Good luck, Dan Bender, on staying upright. What's in the cup tonight is Modelo. Let's go. Ohio is crushing it tonight. So much going on. Dustin Duncan. Yeah, there we go. First timer. Super stoked to be a part of this. That comes from Ryan or Seth. Brandon Rodriguez. Then there's too many. There's too many, Chief. There's probably still another 100 comments of the LFG variety saying, let's get this on. So with all that being said, audience, please, please, please throw your questions at Chief Ike. This is Scrap 250, and I want only the best hard, fast, down the middle fastballs coming at him so he can crush them and knock them out of the park. So send your questions. Kyle Ramagus is here. He's in Michigan tonight fielding your questions. Sam is here. He is fielding your questions. And so absolutely. And with all that being said, let's get the sponsors done. Let's pay the bills, and then we will move into the beautiful, beautiful Scrap 250. The original sponsor of the Scrap, Key Hose. Check them out online at keyhose.com and follow them on Facebook. Affordable Drill Towers, on a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props, like the Affordable Bailout Prop, which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high-point rescues. Then they make the Affordable Standpipe Prop, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory and then roll it into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures. And of course, their mainstay, the Affordable Drill Tower. It comes in several configurations and standard with the standpipe system. Choose from 1 or 2 sets of stairs, integrate it into your existing Connex boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models are NFPA 1402 compliant and gain you ISO credit. The only thing that you can't do on an Affordable Drill Tower is live fire training. Call Steve, 844-55-TOWER, or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. FirestationFurniture.com provides a complete line of quality furniture for your firehouse. Firefighter owned and operated, they understand the strain firefighters put on furniture and offer furniture that's built to last. Visit FirestationFurniture.com for more information. See, they understand the strain Chief Ike puts on stuff, right? They understand, and they built it for him right there. And finally, last but not least, firefighter safety and accountability starts with being able to quickly find and identify individual firefighters operating on the fire ground. Identifier Safety combines the best in photoluminescent materials for durable firefighter identification solutions that can glow for up to 20 hours. No switches, no batteries, which means being able to identify firefighters by name, unit, or assignment, even under hot fire conditions. All specifically designed and tested for the rigors of the job. Be seen, on scene. Identifiersafety.com. Chief, you did amazing, man. That was awesome, man. All right. Are you ready to get to the scrap?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Absolutely. Let me pull these notes down here so I get them in the right place. There we go. I'm going to kick it off with one of my favorite quotes. One of the first things I ever learned from you, and I keep it near and dear to my heart, but it's one of my favorite quotes that came from Chief Ike, and that is, tactics put out fires. I want you to just talk about that just to get the audience primed and ready so they can send their questions in that, and then we'll go down some rabbit holes. So go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm fortunate enough, lucky enough, Peter Matthews has me doing the Command Success column 3 times a year in Firehouse Magazine. It's the primary command and control incident command, fireground command column. And, you know, if you read it, and I'm going to start getting more, my column's going to be more geared towards actual command operations, considerations as a command officer based on staffing, strategy, offensive, defensive, reorganize, go back offensive. But I've always said, you know, that if you got a football team, a soccer team, and the teams there and the coach don't show up, you can still play the ball game, right? You know, Nick Saban comes down to really the last 2 minutes of the football game. You know, what timeouts did he save? But the players are making it happen. And you know, I don't care what it is. You can have, you know, blue card and have perfect radio transmissions, great incident action plan, phenomenal apparatus and radios. But if your firefighters don't know how to use a 30-inch pro bar, or, you know, they don't know how to use a flashlight, or, that they don't understand how to use a thermal imager truly properly, how to use it, when to use it. They don't understand when and where they might use a nozzle, like the Elkhart vent tip, having stuff like that, or knowing when like to use a Bresnan nozzle and avoid space fire. All that fancy radio command, control, accountability tags is pointless, because if they can't force the door, we can't get a line in the building. If we force the door, but they can't push in, they can't flow while they're pushing. They don't understand water mapping. People don't understand, what type of blade, taking a saw to the roof. Like if you look behind me, it's one of these new battery powered DeWalt saws, and you're not paying attention to what blade's on there, you're not going to get the roof open. The other night, we had a pretty good fire in a old rural highway type motel converted to permanent living apartments, hoarding conditions. And, at the end of the day, it was a metal roof over the original flat gravel roof. So you're going up to cut metal. You're not cutting, dimensional shingles, those sort of things. So at the end of the day, you got to make sure you understand tactics. And, I get a little concerned because, firefighters are always looking for the next best thing. And I get it. This used to be the orange. I call it the Chicago light. It's the original light box.
Right on. Right.
Mine's yellow. And I actually have 4 of these that I bought personally in my rig. And I bought the conversion kit for a couple of them. It has the floodlights. And this light wasn't replaced. We just added the smaller lights, whatever it is, whether, it's the Vulcan or you buy your special one. In 92, my dad bought me a Sears and Roebuck light because it looked the closest thing to what FDNY was wearing. I made my own homemade strap, had a little 110 plug in the back in 1992, and I wore it. And so, I see more and more firefighters, they think because they got that 90-degree light or they got a helmet light or light in their pocket. I'm going to tell you right here, this is the light that's going to find a civilian. This is the light. If you look at the front piece back there, Brush gave me, firefighterrescues.com, over 3,000 documented rescues. We're already seeing that this is a great tool. This tool probably is more useful exterior size up, interior size up, but searching is going to be your hands. It's going to be that flashlight that's down here. No light, not a helmet light, not one of your things. And I've always thought you should wear it where this strap is under your waist strap and this one's out. So this light's doing this. So when I'm on the ground, it's down here. This chest light's not going to find a kid on the floor and add on the floor. This light's okay. This is the light that's searching for life, layout, and fire. This is the light that's going to get the job done. And it just, you look at any busy rescue company, you look at, guys on squads in Chicago, the rescues in New York, the rescues out on the West Coast. Those busy urban city firefighters doing a lot of interior search work, whether single family, multi-family work, they're still carrying this light. They're not relying on this. So don't be lazy. This is it, man. This is part of your tactical capabilities, is that natural sling. And then, there's all kinds of debates out there. Years ago, I used to carry a straight blade because you could pull it out, cut. You didn't have to open it. I got poked, got a little spooked. So I've just been carrying a Spyderco inside of my light for probably 20 years. But if you look at most big city guys, they're carrying one of these because they can pull out of their radio. They cut. They don't have to fold it with their gloves on. So you got to be realistic about what we're doing. I was fortunate to be a helper, if you will, with Tim Klett at FDTN with the hoarding conditions. Right. And that was just 2 years ago. And wire cutters, just for an example. You can have all these crazy ideas about how you're going to carry your wire cutters and golf balls and tennis balls, spring-loaded knot. Does it cut all the way to the end? But until you've really done it, it's all theory. So your tactics have got to be sound, solid, proven on a fire ground under stress inoculation, under 12 medical calls under your belt, and you're 20 hours into your shift. You look at the old the Mayday reports. That's between midnight and 6 a.m. So those tactics are what's going to get us done. You look back in the early 90s when I was working on an engine. We were lucky to have 4. Most of the time we had 3. And so I got the little officer's tool from Bob Farrell. This one here, literally, I've had over 30 years. Wow. And all I did was I wrapped it with like a mariner's wrap with some rope. And this is actually the original rope that went on it. It's on my light now. And nice. I just carried it just like I did my light around the side. So I'm on a nozzle, but I got to a single room occupancy. I needed to take a window. I had this with me. It's better than nothing. I can pop maybe a little lock and half.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
You're
shit.
back. You're back.
What?
You're back. It was just, I don't know what happened. You went black for a second, but you're back.
Okay. Oof.
Just a blink. Just a blink.
All right. So, you know, things like this is what's going to get it done. Understanding. At the end of the day, and thanks, shout out to Garrett Grody. Sorry today, buddy, I couldn't answer. He called me. I was working on a million projects, but Garrett got this nozzle, refinished it, and shipped it to me. What a brother. Shipped this to me as a gift. What a surprise. And, you know, Elkhart Brass, you know, is our biggest sponsor at CFT. And just think about this, how old it is. And still today, we talk about tactics. Most of our tactics haven't changed a lot. And I'm so proud and excited about the Elkhart's XD. But, you know, things change, but they don't change. If you look in some of the old manuals like John Norman's Firefighter Handbook, they used to make these tips homemade out of brass. Why did it take us decades to get a manufacturer to make this where anybody could buy? Like, you had to make it till just a couple of years ago. This is less than $100. I screw it on a nozzle. This is tactics. Even as a chief officer, I want this as an option. I put this in my pocket, whether the nozzle firefighter, officer, whatever. I go in, I'm mapping. You know, I still think the 7/8 smoothbore is the best nozzle in the fire service. I think it gives us the right reach, the right amount, the right nozzle reaction, combat mobility. We get in there, we knock the fire out. We got tongue and groove sealants, fires in the attic, in the void space. I throw this thing on there, put it in the attic. Now I'm shooting water out to those eaves and putting an attic fire out. That used to, we had to climb up on top of, you know, a desk, a bed, you know, the kitchen cabinets. So all these things are tactics, and we got to make sure that we're staying on top of it. It's sad to think a lot of the fire service put the Bresnan, the cellar nozzle, you know, in a warehouse on a shelf. These need to be on the rigs with a short section of hose with a ball shut off, whether you're dropping it through a hole in the roof or a roof over a roof fire, void space fire in a mobile home, off-grade house, whatever it is. This is going to get you water in places that in the past we couldn't put those fires out when we should have been putting them out. We just didn't fall back on foundational tactics. And, you know, I look back to 10 years in a row we did ATROC, and the stuff that was done on Pensacola Beach is phenomenal by some great people, Chief McGrail, you know, Bill Gustin. They had the urban, and then Gustin had the suburban track. And just taking this and dropping it off the side of the balcony on the floor above and letting the wind carry it in. Something we already have. We didn't even have to purchase it. You already got it on the rigs. So just maximizing that, you know, potential of what we're doing, little things. Today I got it out just because, you know, we're working on training the most important Probie. Jessica and our oldest son, Trevor, graduated University of Florida, and now he's riding a bunch with us at Escambia, getting checked off. But I went and got my gloves out. These are literally my first pair of gloves that I got issued when I was a full-fledged firefighter in 1992. And these were interior. I mean, these are the interior. They're thin. I mean, at the end of the day, I realize we want more protection. But we talk about tactics. You know, are you spending the money? If your fire department's giving you the bulky ones, are you spending $100 on a pair of gloves so you can work a Halligan, work a Sol? Because here's the deal. When you're getting your car worked on, that mechanic's buying his own tools. That Snap-on truck comes by, it's a lot of money. So invest in yourself. Get good gloves. Get a good hood. Get a good light. Get a good knife. Get a good pair of wire cutters. You know, and what we're doing. Also for tonight, I got out in 1992. I'd read Tom Brennan's back page, Random Thoughts. He said 25-foot piece of rope. I literally, that day when I was done reading that article, I drove to the Ace Hardware, Oreo Beach, and Highway 98 here in Midway. Bought this rope, put 2 little clips on it. I stopped carrying it, you know, probably the late 90s because I upgraded to a 8mm, you know, rope rescue, high do. This is just a utility, but I use this for so many fires. The Days In fire, we had 48 motel rooms burning on 3 floors, Cervantes and pallet box. This is the rope that I dropped down, and it barely reached for them to hook a hose line to it because we trench cutted, yes, on the opposite side of the firewall at this fire because we were out of staffing, breaches. We had smoke starting to show on the other side of the firewall. We didn't have the people to get to the top floor and pull the ceilings, trench, peak, to Eve, both sides. Soon as we cut it, we wait. We didn't punch or pull, and we did fires blowing through. Well, that was the day. Tactical deviation. Deviate from your tactics. Drop this rope down. Has a little thing on it. They clipped it just like that on the nozzle. And this is from 1992. Pulled that 1 3/4 up there. We dropped it through and made the water run down the firewall. Shut it down. They got master streams on the main part of the fire on the other side of the firewall. Those 48 motel rooms 24 years later are still standing because we knew when and why we were putting a hose line through a vertical vent opening based on time delay tactics, staffing. So those are critical things. And, you know, the fire service is moving forward. I actually just found it last week. I was talking to Matt that owns Identifier, who's sponsoring tonight. And in 92, I ordered off the Gulls catalog. Used to get the Gulls catalog. And I ordered the strip that said W. Isakson and reflective. And I had Bosso's uniform sewn in the back of my coat. I got my balls busted in 92. What do you think, Isakson? You're special. You want your name on the back of your coat so everybody knows who you are. Well, shit, the name's on the back of your uniform. Well, fuck yeah, I want people to know who I am. When I'm walking across a fucking roof and I fall through, they'd say, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Isakson's through the roof. Like, really? I can't fucking believe there's a fire department in the country that don't have these things on their air pack. These should be mandatory by NFPA on the back of your bottle strap. And personally, I think the front should be on both shoulders, not just this one, both. So if I'm down this shoulder, you know, I'm down like this, instantly you identify who it is. I mean, we can go back to the Valentine's Day fire, 1995, Bryceland Street. I got the report. Ed Farley gave me the copy of it because, you know, that kind of, some of that stuff back then wasn't like this. NIOSH reports are available today. And what your front piece says matters. Mine aren't changed out, so I'm wearing Battalion 5. That's my off-duty call sign. I got one that's Battalion 3. I got one that's Battalion 2, and some of them there's no number on the front because, you know, who are you today? It's not who you're assigned to. It's not what company you're infatuated with and how much you love it. When we find you, let's just go to the Berkeley Way fire in San Francisco, where our brothers went in. When you're coming in that side door and you come across them and you haven't, a mayday has not been transmitted. Now, what it says here on the air pack, what it says on here, last name, company, what it says on your pack, the bottom of your coat, Mayday, 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 Battalion 5, Isakson, located unconscious, second floor. And so, you know, Maydays aren't just about you transmitting a Mayday for yourself. You may transmit a Mayday if you come across an unconscious, you know, incapacitated firefighter. How rapidly can you identify them? Is their name on their front piece? Is their name on the bottom of the helmet? I don't give two shits if your fire department's on your front piece. You know, the rank's nice just for the civilians. I definitely want your last name, and I want the company or your radio designation, name on your mask, and I want that air pack. And like you see behind me right there, thanks to Morning Pride, name on the bottom of the coat. All that stuff, you know, is just so critical. And it's, you know, some of it's cultural, some of it's a pride, company pride, but what it really comes down to is accountability. And one of my command success columns in Firehouse talked about accountability beyond the tags. And it is this identifier tag system. It's the fire trucks. Brunacini, like over 30 years ago, was talking about the slide outs. In the 70s, the FDNY was taking cardboard and duct tape on reserve rigs because it's coming down the street. My ass is screwed up so many times at a fire. If you watch the X Street video of the grab where Ladder 12 makes the grab, I'm saying squad 3. It's not squad 3. We just got 3 brand new rigs. It was engine 11. Rigs were relocated for a training exercise. The arrival sequence was jacked up in my head. I failed to really look at the CAD properly. But at the end of the day, those things is what I'm going to see on the front, rear, and side. And all that's identification, you know, for who it is. Just like numbers. You know, Coach Billy Napier's doing an okay job down there at the Swamp. But last year they had 2 fucking players wearing the same number. Like, give me a break. It's the SEC. They're paying the guy $33 million, and he's got a gazillion coaches. They got 2 football players wearing the same number. Stupid shit like that cost them a penalty.
Beautiful.
Put out fires good enough.
All right. That was they covered tactics, put out fires. Absolutely. That's the opening. That was the opening warm-up question. I want everybody to understand that. That was the opening warm-up question. There are so many questions coming at you from the audience, and I want to get to those. But you talked about training the most important Probie. I want you to hit on that. I want you to hit on that, and then I'm going to get to the audience because I want to involve them. But go ahead, Chief.
All right. So, you know, all my whole family obviously is involved in the fire service. My dad, I grew up, you know, going to fire since I was a little kid. All three of my kids, you know, I would say my kids probably came to the firehouse in Escambia growing up more than any other single kid on the job. Jessica brought them up there all the time. I mean, they just came, you know, Ladder 12 was a brand new firehouse. It opened September of 2007, 17 years ago. I mean, Trevor was 5, Catherine was 3, Lucas was 1. They've been coming there since that age. We've had birthdays there, Christmas, Thanksgiving. And so my kids, you know, I really don't think you could have kids subjected to the fire service more than our kids. And subjected to just some great people in the fire service running fire conferences over the years. I always had a different firefighter. My buddies Demo and Gilbert from Del Norte, you know, I'd have them take them, or, you know, Kyle Saxon or Matt Scallon, just different people. Give them a ride just for that whole social skill, shaking hands, now, you know, talking, make sure, even if they're an introvert, they know how to communicate. So they know what the fire service is. They know what it can provide. You know, I'm not talking about financially, just provide for a family, the security, the picnics, you know, coming to the firehouse, the pride and ownership of it. And, you know, Trevor was, you know, he was going to be a doctor. I mean, he academically, you know, does phenomenally. You know, he graduated high school with a 4.8, and, you know, he just graduated 4.0 from UF, biomedical engineering. You know, going to med school wouldn't be a problem. You know, getting in the upper 90s on organic chemistry 1 and 2 shows that he could do it. But last October, he just comes to us and says, I want to be a firefighter. And, you know, people that don't know me, like, they think it's BS, but I really didn't think he was going to be a firefighter. And I don't care what any of my kids do. I just want them to be happy. That's all. And I'll tell you this, you can take this shit to the bank. The only fucking poor fireman is a lazy fireman. So stop bitching and complaining, because that's why some people don't want to be firefighters, is all they hear firefighters do is moan and grope about being broke and poor. When a lot of people can't work a side job, they don't get much vacation, they don't have a very good pension or retirement. I mean, I've used it on the scrap before, the example of what school teachers make and the multiplier. We all want to make more money. I get it. But at the end of the day, it is the best job in the world, hands down. So, you know, I'm excited about him doing it. You know, am I nervous? Am I apprehensive? Because, you know, I've already told him a bunch of times, you know, it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how dedicated, committed you are. You could read books nonstop and stay up 24 hours a day. You can only learn this job so fast. You got to go to jobs. You got to go to jobs under stress inoculation. You know, I like to say it, everybody's got the answer to a test until it's time to take the test. And then your ass forgot because your heart rate's 152 beats a second. You're shaking in your pants. You can't hold the mic because you know what I mean? It was easy when you're riding on the back step. Now it's your time to give that size up. And, you know, you screw it up. Everybody's got the answers at shift change for a fire they didn't go to. You know, I got a lot of people wanting to know why I transmitted a third alarm the other night at that fire. Well, what they need to do is they need to start studying tactics. What they need to do is study depth on the bench, percentage of impact, what a multiple dwelling that's been converted potentially provides when it's a cinder block, tongue and groove, roof over a roof, and a metal roof with hoarding conditions. So the fire service has got to stop thinking just because you've been going to fires X number of years with this many companies or people that that's okay. What are you going to do when somebody says, Mayday, 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 building collapse, squad 3, center the building, and a fucking metal roof on top of them? God help you if you don't have people sitting on a fucking bench that have yet to plug into air, they have yet to sweat their ass off and they're peeing yellow. Here's the deal. They ain't a fucking football team, baseball team, soccer team. They ain't a professional sports team in a country that when the players are on the field, there's nobody on the bench. And 99.9% of the time, when the fucking game's over, a bunch of them never even played. They were there for the bad day. When the quarterback got hurt, the goalkeeper got hurt. That's what it's about. Depth on the bench, insurance policy. Everybody wants to know about the FDNY. You know what? People are standing across the street. They're so big, go to so much shit, and they've had so many bad incidents. They know they need 53 people on the roster, even though 11 are engaging in the firefight. Stop advertising your fucking limited ignorance. If all you know is this, open your eyes and realize that you need to know this before you retire, because you probably haven't been to your worst fire. And if you transmit a mayday, do you want two companies standing fast that are fresh, rehabbed, or not even rehabbed? You didn't have to rehab them.
Right.
And guys, don't think about this. The other day, I was at a fire, and the fifth company on the box alarm, when it got there, the first company's already 8 minutes into breathing their air. That means the first alarm assignment really didn't engage. That'd like be starting a soccer game with 8 people, and in 8 minutes, 3 more will show up. Well, shit, your halfbacks, your fullbacks, they're fucking exhausted because they're trying to make up for 3 players that aren't on the field. I'm worked up because I'm tired of people opening their mouth and letting other people know how ignorant they are, how limited they are on understanding strategy, tactics, time delay tactics, staffing, and expecting the unexpected.
Boom.
Expecting the unexpected. Just go to Instagram. Follow Chief John Norman. Every day he does a post. And it's about something in history that happened. We all wish that we had a full lineup, all starters. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's got strep throat. Nobody's got bronchitis. Nobody's got a torn ACL. But in the fire service, we've always got somebody's got a torn ACL. Somebody's got asthma. I mean, we're never full strength. You know, people might not be on swaps. We might be riding full staffing. But what happens when it's 42 hours into a 48-hour shift? The last 2 days, it was 92 degrees outside with 80% humidity, and you were testing hose, doing this. You're not like you were when you got to work at 0700. So those are things we do. And I got all sides. We're supposed to be talking about training the most important Probies. So I tell you that stuff. You know why I tell you that? Because if my kids are going to be in the fire service, I'm scared to fucking death who's going to be sending them into a fire. Who's going to go get them? Are they fucking doing what I did for years, where you go to a Queen Anne Victorian, 1890 it was built, and we do it with 3 engines, a ladder, and a rescue, up. We don't want to call any more companies. That's not what we do. Up. And get my ass handed to me. Even at 21 years old, I couldn't walk for 2 days because we needed a third alarm, and we did it with a first alarm assignment. And I told myself, if I ever get a chance, stand by.
Standing by.
It's real complicated to you chiefs out there. You press a button, command fire alarm, transmit a second alarm, and the resources start showing up. You start putting people on the bench. And hopefully when the fire's out, you might have at least one company that didn't do anything, and that's a good thing. That's the third string you didn't need at this ball game, and you won the game. And see, here's what people don't think about. When you cut a vertical vent opening and you needed it and it did a good job, it'll look like you didn't need it because it did its job.
Right.
When you call enough resources and you kick ass and you aggressively deploy, default aggressive wins the war, right? Sun Tzu. Surround the enemy, overwhelm it with so many resources that don't even know what hit them. Bam! Just right upside the face, man.
Right in the face.
The Marines coming, the SEALs coming, the fucking Airborne Rangers, the AFSOC. Get them all coming. Hell, shit, put the Coast Guard on standby. Because you can never have too many resources for that call you've never been to. So when I talk about training the most important Probie, is I don't want him to fall into a historical trap of doing more with less. I don't want him to fall into the trap that I do this my first year on the job. When you got 5 years, you can do this and this. Things change. you know, I call it graduating. So many fire officers, all they know is Tactics 1. That's it. They know Tactics 1. And I always use the same example. Tactics 1 tells you, where do you put the ladder, company? Where do you position the ladder? A alpha side. That's the fucking last place you want to put it 90% of the time. You want it in front of the Bravo exposure or the Delta exposure so you can come in and ladder the roof, get the best scrub area based on, especially if it's a 2.5-story frame. I mean, but Tactics 1 tells you to put it in front of the building.
Right.
Shit, I want the engine company in front of the building. I want the ladder just, first 2 ladder to hold short to pull past. Second ladder, now I got 2 ladders coming to the fire building, right? With an engine in the middle. That's partly where the 75-foot green feeder line comes from. So you people shut the fuck up. You're advertising your Tactics 1 is the only tactics class you ever took. Take Tactics 2, Tactics 3. Take Turpac size up class. Take John Norman's fire officer class. Take Avillo's class. You know, read Chief Smith's book and all those articles from Firehouse. Rest in peace, Chief Smith from Philadelphia. You got to understand that this shit is to get on the job. That's what this is for. This is to get on the job. And then once you get on the job, you got to start reading stuff like this. You know what this is? This is the telephone book from FDIC in 1999. One of the greatest nozzle firefighters, engine officers that ever worked in the American Fire Service. And the first person to type his name in comments, is getting a free pass to a fire conference and based on Elkhart Brass being such a sponsor. First person that can type who this is and the notes is getting a free pass to a fire conference. But now it's on a CD, right? I like this, man. I can look this stuff up. I can get in here, see the front of this thing. Strategies and tactics for petroleum storage tank emergencies, keeping instructors motivated. Get the Roof by John Noonan. Size Up, a comprehensive look. Turpac. Avillo. Chart House Fire, pre-planning the lessons learned. The list goes on. And this was just one FDIC. One FDIC. What a resource. That thing sits on my shelf. See, but you got to ask yourself, why are you in the fire service?
Dude, love it.
Why?
Love
right
it.
now. Right now. Hey, right now. 30 seconds of silence. I want you to just stop and I want you to pontificate. Why'd you get in the fire service? Was it for the schedule? Was it because you're so fucking stupid you couldn't do nothing else? Did somebody just tell you to fill out the paperwork? Or did you really want to be a firefighter? Did you want to make a difference? Did you want to make a change? Did you play sports? If you played sports and you sat on the bench, you know how much it sucks. Because I know about sitting on the bench, right? When I sit on the bench, my dad said, the only way you get your ass off the bench is practice more than the guy that's starting. You just can't go to practice when he's practicing. You got to practice more. You got to watch more film. You got to put in more time. So you got to ask yourself, why? People ask me when I'm retiring. Retirement's not even on my thought process. Like, I tell people recently, like, if I live to retirement, I don't even know if I'm going to live till. I'm definitely going to work until I'm 65. Has nothing to do with the pension. But it's what gets me up in the morning, right? Like, what gets you up in the morning without an alarm clock? That's what the why is. That's what motivates. And you don't have to be obsessed with a fire service, but you do have to be good because people live and die based on your preparation, your capabilities. And if you suck, you suck. See, and most of the time, people that love the job, they're good at the job. And they're good at the job because they sweated, they invested. They invested physically, financially, mentally, emotionally. They sacrificed, right? I bought my first radio strap in the mid-90s. Hell, I bought my own set of irons. I went through Chief Pat Grace from, Firehooks Unlimited almost 30 years ago because we didn't have them. I wanted a real Halligan. I wanted a real, like, I still got them. Hell, shit, it's the Halligan Chief Morris used for 10 years at H-Rock. Pretty cool. Hang that shit on the wall one day.
That's pretty
Collect the
cool.
dust. Right?
Chief, hold on. I got to ask you a question. On the giveaway, the first person said AF. Does that count? Because there was another person who typed out the name. Which one counts according to you?
It's not Andy Fredericks.
Okay.
It is not Andy Fredericks. He's still alive. He's still teaching. Here's the deal. I know what it's like to be a target. I know. I fucking have enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to be doing something to be a target. You got to be doing something. You know, there's a guy named Billy Graham. And I don't care what your religious beliefs are, you know, doesn't matter. But most people know who Billy Graham was. Guess what? Not everybody liked Billy Graham. John F. Kennedy had a pretty high percentage acceptance rate by the American people. Guess what? Not everybody liked John F. Kennedy. Not everybody likes any one person. Nobody is liked by everybody. That's life, right? So you got to embrace the target if you're going to get out there and you're going to push the envelope and you're going to do stuff. People aren't going to, people are jealous for stupid shit, man. You know, and I'll tell you my new thing, and I got to share this with you. I'm not jealous of what anybody has. I'm jealous of what people are willing to do. Somebody's willing to like sell everything and go cross country to national parks. That family took that bus and put their kids, they're taking them and they're like teaching them in the bus as they go around the country. It's like they're like doing I'm jealous of what people are willing to do, man.
Wow.
Not what they have. You know, who cares? You know, and at the end of the day, man, like, you know, I got these pictures everywhere. This is in my garage. I just grabbed it today. Stuck to the back of it is that. And then right next to it is a guy that got me in the fire service. 78 years old, filling air bottles when it was about 89 degrees outside. Well, that day it wasn't because he got his jacket on, but he'd be out there 89 degrees filling bottles, my dad. So these are just three of the big individuals. Matt Negley, suicide. Maurice dying in a fire. My dad dying, you know, of old age, but he did die of multiple myeloma. That motivate me, that I can't let worrying about my popularity keep me from pushing somebody to be a little bit better. And so that goes back to training the most important Probie. Is I'm more worried about him being in a starting lineup. I'm worried about him being the one that don't need to be rescued, that knows how to transmit a mayday, or when somebody calls for help, that he knows to go left or when to go right and doing a search. He knows what blade to use. And it's going to take years. Like right now, I don't care about him getting on the job. We're through the volunteer system at Escambia. And everybody's like asking, when's he get the job? I said, I don't give a shit. Hell, I just paid for him to live in Gainesville and paid for fraternity fees, I paid for everything. I don't give a shit if I got to pay another year if it allows him to train 84 hours a week,
right?
90 hours a week, to where he can focus on going to as many fires, as many jobs, ask as many questions, and being exposed to the best of the best in Northwest Florida. You know, I'm scared to death he gets on the job and gets to a firehouse where they sit around and watch fucking TV all day. They don't even read an article a day. They don't do a drill. They don't talk at the coffee table about the job. You got to be training all the time. You got to be drilling. And so we talk about training the most important Probie. I'm going to leave it at this, is ask yourself, if your kid came on a job and they were assigned to your company officer, they were assigned to your company, would that change how you drilled? Would that change if you put an air pack on sometimes as their backup leading them in? Would that change if you had a full tick battery, full charged radio battery? How fast you drove the rig? Would you want them to wear a seatbelt? Would you want them to breathe air? Would you want them to wear hearing protection when they're running a saw? Would you want them to wear eye protection when they're running a grinder at the workbench at the firehouse? Ask yourself.
No, that's a great question.
If you were training the most important Probie, your kid, your company, how would that change what you did when you went on duty at the firehouse? And if you noticed, almost all my helmet says the truss. If you look under my brim right there, just a reminder, man, the truss will kill you. This job, man, it's like, there's just so much to know, man. It's like, I love it when somebody thinks they got it figured out, because I don't have it figured out, and it's what I do full time. I mean, I'm a sicko for this shit, and I have been since I was a little kid. You know, I got my first set of bunker gear on May 21st, 1988, and I never looked back, man. Like, I walked off the soccer team. I walked off the varsity soccer team because the fire service had become more important than soccer, and I didn't want to. I'd rather be hanging out in the firehouse than going to soccer practice or soccer games. It's what I do. It's who I am, you know, and that's just part of it. Like, you know, and I don't think everybody needs to be that way. But I think everybody needs to be working to be a little better. You don't know what you don't know till you know it. When you know that, you still don't know what the hell you don't know.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, you know, all the time we go to jobs and, you know, like you got to acknowledge when it's a metal roof over a flat roof because it's a rain roof, or a membrane over a decked roof over a flat roof, like apartment building fire we had 3 years ago. You know, the difference between if you're going in and you got tongue and groove or plywood over your head, or OSB versus sheetrock. You know, all these things matter. And then cinder block, and who laid the block, and, you know, how strong is cinder block, and how old's the mortar, and who mixed the mortar, and the brick, and the, you know, wood frame. And, you know, it's like, you know, you got to be thinking, man. You just got to be thinking. Because, I mean, like, a lot of fires are the same. You can't say they're not. Like, you know, kitchen fires, a kitchen fire on a one-story poured slab, dimensional shingle, sheetrock. But a lot of fires are different. The layout, the conditions, the setbacks, the time of day, the wind condition, you know, and we got to be thinking, man. See, and the problem is in the fire service, too many people got to experience it themselves to make an impact.
No.
All firefighters should be impacted by all bad incidents in the fire service. Father's Day fire, New York, hardware store. If you have a hardware store, you can go to a hardware store fire and it can blow up. Right?
Yes.
You got to be asking yourself, triple decker, Worcester, collapse, guys in the basement, they get to him right before he runs out of air. You know, are you ready to do a transfill? How many watch it right now? Right now, listen to me. I'm dripping sweat. I got AC on 66. That's supposed to fit your teeth. I got thing in there. But start shooting on this toothpick. They don't even make them out of wood anymore. They're made out of plastic. Listen, how many of you yourself and or your company have taken an air pack, breathed it down to the bells ringing, blindfolded, hood on backwards with real fire gloves, and taken a rip pack and transfilled yourself? Wouldn't that be some fucking shit, man? You're on a RIT team, a fast team, deploying into a building fire to save a brother or sister firefighter. You get jammed up and you're running low on air, and you're carrying a RIT pack with 4,500 PSI compressed air, and you couldn't even give yourself air. And then if you could, you didn't really understand the whole concept of how it equalizes. 4,500 is 2,250. And so now if I equalize it, let's just say I was at zero for easy math, and then I give it to my partner, now 2,250 is 1,125.
Yeah.
Then the third person is going to be 575. That's simple math. See, if you do that in the whiteboard at the coffee table, and you talk about it, and you go out in the truck bay and you put all your gear on, turn your hood on back, you'll find out. I've seen it. First time we did it was about 10 years ago in a white 2-story acquired structure. Dude, nobody was great at it the first time. People are scared. They can't push it in hard enough. It's almost like they're about to break it off. It's harder than you think it is. Now, once you get it down and you've done it about 3 or 4 times, man, it's bam, bam, bam. It's clockwork. You don't want it to be the first time when the bell's ringing. Smoke's banked down on you. Hearing that fire crackling. Hearing all that noise. No. That stress is going to make it even harder. So you got to be thinking about this stuff, you know. So train most one Probie. I'm going to make sure Trevor knows how to transfil. Because if you can't save yourself, how in the fuck are you supposed to expect somebody else to save you? You don't know how to transmit a mayday. You don't know how to activate your pass device. You don't know how to do a transfill. You don't know how to tie a hand cut knife or bail out or rope slide or, you know, head first, or how to use a hose line.
Boom.
Evade and trench. All these things matter because at the end of the day, we got to stay aggressive. That's got to be the default mode. We got to stay aggressive because that's the safest way for us to operate, is tactically be proficient. That's what puts out fires. Be tactically strong, tactically proficient, and then back it up with a strategic plan by command officers that know when we need more resources, how to divide and, use your resources properly. Sometimes having companies multitask, but don't have multitasking. You don't have to. Other night at a fire years ago when we just had 319 and ladder 12, we'd have been there 5 hours from when engine 1 and myself got there till the last person left, 2 hours and 25 minutes. That's 2 hours more the brothers got to go back to the firehouse and get sleep for the rest of their 48-hour shift. All that hose on the ground, man, I don't know. We put like 6 attack lines. We had, I thought we had fire in 3 units. Smoke was pushing from 5 units. Heavy fire in the rear. So we had a couple thousand feet of hose on the ground. Shit, we had enough people, like 1 section per person. Now nobody's back's hurting. Nobody's done 2 or 3 bottles. You're not dehydrated. So guess what? Now we get a fire the next day. We're going to be more proficient, right? That's why they give you rest time between the playoffs and the Super Bowl. They don't fucking play the playoffs and say, come back tomorrow. We're going to make you play the Super Bowl tomorrow. Shit, they give you 2 weeks to rehab.
Chief, I've got so many freaking timestamps already, and that's a big reason why I try not to step on your timestamps when you're on a roll. I really don't want to cut in and have to make something I have to edit out, because I love making sound bites when Chief Ike is on a roll. And someone said it on here, this whole scrap should be a t-shirt. They've already said a whole bunch of them should be t-shirts. Hey, real quick, Jason Gregory was the first one to say Ray McCormick. Yes, no, maybe so?
Nope, that's not it.
Man, I got to go back and look.
I knew it was going to be good, man. See, most people watching, they weren't even on the job 25 years ago.
Right. The next one.
I'm going to give them a nugget. One of the best firefighters to ever fight fire with a nozzle. One of the best engine bosses in the largest fire department in North America. He's on the live burn team in the late 90s at FDIC. He's on the CFT team too.
I got Chris.
Well, don't say it, because you got to let me win it.
No, I'm saying.
Now my fucking son just texted me what it was.
I'm saying the first person that said Timmy Klett was.
Oh, hey, I do got. And Trevor's listening. I already know, no matter how much Trevor busts his ass, he's already got a fucking target on his back.
Yeah, he does.
He's got a target. People are going to be intimidated because of his physical attributes, his intelligence, his discipline, his work ethic, and he says yes sir, no sir 1,000 fucking times a day. People don't like that shit. I got guys on my job asking me, like what's the deal? Is this a conspiracy? Like, what's going on? Like, are y'all trying to take over the fucking fire department? I'm like, oh, dude, he's supposed to be a fireman. Like my dad, like we're the Isaksons. We love the fire service. We run fire conferences. Like, he says he has a bunch of uncles that he likes, and he's referring to, people from the CFT team. But that's how it works, man. People sometimes, and this isn't just about the fire service, people sometimes don't like people, and they don't even fucking know why they don't like them. And what it really comes down to is jealousy. And they don't even know they're jealous. They literally, it's not a conscious, it's subconscious. They don't even know it. And I've said this for 20 years. Why does a fucker walk the street in Miami Beach, South Beach, and Kia Lamborghini, and they don't know who owns it? Because they can't fucking have a Lamborghini. Now, if it was your girlfriend and she cheated on you, you got a fucking reason, right? There's a motive there. But it's like when somebody keys something or defaces something, and they don't even know it's just because they can't have it. It's like when somebody says, oh, must be nice. I mean, well, fuck, get off your ass and go earn it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just amazing. Stop worrying about what somebody else has, doesn't have. Like, you worry about getting it for yourself.
Beautiful. I'm going to try. There's a lot of guesses coming in, so I'm going to keep throwing at you in order.
Oh, hey, we got to give the giveaway. And it's over when the scrap's over.
Okay.
It's posted on countyfiretactics.com. This ain't no bullshit. This is hands down the biggest deal we've ever done. We used to have the CFT 100 for like 5 conferences or 4. 9 fire conferences, 9 conferences. August Water on the Fire, Tactics Put Out Fires, Pensacola Beach Fire Conference, CFT, ODP, COBC, like 9 fire conferences, $950. That's like
crazy.
$105 a conference. Includes the ODP. Literally 3 of them are 5 days long. It comes out to be, I don't know what it's like, $20, like $10 a day or something.
Yeah, something crazy.
It's stupid. It is like, it's the craziest shit, but it's got to be during a scrap because you fucking love the job. You're into the job. And once again, it's not for fire departments. It's for those people paying. Now, if they buy this CFT Gold membership, whoever's name it goes on, if you can't go, the person has to come. They just check in as your name because it's so cheap. Jessica can't be changing all these names.
Sure.
So every conference, there'll be a badge for John Doe. If you buy it as a mentorship or you send Susie gets there, they got to pick up John Doe's name tag. We'll give them a write-in card and they're good to go.
If I buy it, they're going to be wearing...
That thing's going to sell out tonight. And I don't give a shit. You can split the cost with 3 other people. I don't care. But whoever's name on there, whoever's email, they're getting emailed. The badge is there. 9 conferences includes Water on the Fire, COBC, man, all the seminars that I'm teaching. It's 4 times 3 is 12. 15 is 27 plus 3. I think it's 33 days of training. That's right. Now, the other one that's a little cheaper is called the CFT Mentor. We did it here in BCBC. It's all 4 of my 3-day conferences that we're doing at the brand new Fairfield Inn. It has that awesome lazy river. And that's $275 for all 4. That's 12 days of training. 4 3-day conferences, $275. Like, that's less than $75. 4 times 75 is $300, right? Yeah, that's right. It's math. It's less than that. It's less than 70. It's $25 a day.
So if they want to get that, they need to go there.
Real quick. I got to tell you this, though. Stand by. This is important shit.
Yes.
We couldn't do it, though, for like Elkhart Brass, Keyhoes, thanks to Joey Hayes and them, Columbia Southern, Brandon Dunn at Fire Station Furniture Man. I got the chair here. He's big supporter, Morning Pride, and ID Fire Tags. We're able to do this stuff because they're helping us offset the stupid, crazy cost of coffee and the multimedia. And so it's huge, man. But when the scrap's over tonight, the deal's over. So get it, split it with somebody. We don't care what you do, but whoever's name's going to get it. So moving on past that.
Eddie J, I'm sorry. You were told there would be no math. There is math. This is the scrap. You never know what's coming at you. I'm still going to try and get who got the right answer, Chief. John Salka.
No. He worked on 88 engine in the 18th Battalion under John Salka was his chief. First due to the Bronx Zoo.
First, Tim Klett was another guess.
That's it. Tim Klett there.
Okay. Then it is.
That's
Jason,
Tim Klett right there.
Jason, I wouldn't have recognized him. He I thought I had Jason. I
sure as hell fucking hope Kyle Romagus knew who it was. Okay. Yeah, Tim's a little older now.
I'm looking. Chris Jacoby, first one to say Tim Klett. Boom. All right. Verified. There you go. Tim Klett. It's Tim Klett. I didn't know, man. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, Sam's talking in my ear telling me who got it right. Chris Jacoby. Chris Jacoby was the first one to say, yeah, Jason Gregory, you said it later. I'll say.
Hey,
yeah.
So he just needs to email me at cftactics@gmail.com.
There you go. cftactics@gmail.com. Yeah. Kyle Romigan said, I did. I knew it was Tim Klett. He did. He wasn't. He's part of the CFT team. He's not taking. Okay, Chief, I got questions coming out my ears from the audience. I'm going to throw one at you, okay? Hold on. I had one I wanted to ask you earlier. I'm going through a lot right here. Holy smokes, there's a lot of questions coming at you. But I wanted to stay on the most important Probie here because this one is right in there. Man, I'm looking for it. All right, here it is. Jody Keeler wanted to ask this question. I love this question. How does Chief balance raising successful kids, a wife, and putting on 4, and I'd say 4+, or more conferences a year. What advice does he have for people raising a family and trying to get better at the same time?
Well, don't do what I did. Be home more. I mean, I did try to make sure I was at the soccer games and sports, but you know, man, like everybody's got to do them. You know, I like everybody's childhood experiences make them do different things. In fact, I didn't even realize I hadn't shared it with Jessica till recently. My mom worked at Hurlburt Air Force Base, at Eglin Air Force Base. She was last stationed at the AFSOC headquarters. My dad worked a lot of hours. So when I was a kid, I got off the bus and Miss Nail was at my house. I was a latchkey kid sometimes.
Right.
And so I always said that if I had kids, I wanted their mom to be home when they got home. And when Jessica and I went to engaged encounter through the Catholic Church before we got married, one of the things is that she would stay home to raise them, make sure they're doing their homework, see what's going on, go to the school, the PTA. So, the amount of involvement, Jess knew what they were doing all the time. She still has them all on Life 360. I'm not on Life 360. I don't see what they're doing. I tried it one day. I didn't make it 12 hours, and I saw where Catherine was, and I just said, I don't need this shit. This is too stressful for me. But at the end of the day, I would say one of the parents, is needs to be very in tune to what the kids are doing, what's happening, who they're hanging out with, who they're talking to. I just think it's crazy when parents don't have the phone number to their kids' best friend's parents. Like, that just blows my mind. The amount of parents' phone numbers that are on my phone is unbelievable, man. Like, if I need to text, I don't call them or text them, but if I could, I'll tell my kids, well, I need so-and-so's dad to call me or text me before you go, whatever it is. So just being involved, and I was home sometimes more than I give myself credit. A lot of times I would get off duty, come home, I'd see him, I'd go, I was a contract training officer when they were younger for 6 years down in South Walton, Okaloosa Island, Destin, that area. So I was home, on my days off at nighttime for dinner. I went to the soccer practices. I coached some, but Jessica did 90% of the raising of them, stay on top of their grades, the academics, all of that. And then they get credit, man. Like, obviously, Jessica gave them a lot of direction and guidance, but, some people could be the best parents in the world, man. They can do everything. They could just be perfect. And, I grew up in a church, so I'm a Christian. I think, I should still be able to say that. You can be anything in this country. Well, I'm a Christian. I think God just gives different people, different things in life. And some people have a little bit more of a challenge or work. So, on top of it, I do think we were blessed with 3 kids that, were healthy and, academics wasn't really challenging for them. But you still got to tell them to do their homework. You got to give them rules that they can't be on the Nintendo or the Atari for, 8-9 hours every night. I don't know if you caught on to that Nintendo and Atari thing, but anyways, so you got to manage that stuff. You got to push the envelope. You got to raise that bar, and you just got to keep pushing it. Always giving them little tidbits, nuggets, advice. And it's got to be throughout their whole life. Just like little things when they were little. If we went to eat dinner, I was like, all right, we'd be in the car, that dinner costs this. If you think $20 an hour is good, well, let's divide that meal by $20 an hour. If it was like a big meal, like Christmas or something that was expensive, let's just say we went to the Grand Marlin on Pensacola Beach. Well, I'm just going to make up a number, $400, right? So now 400 divided by 20, shit, man, you got to work all week to pay for dinner.
Yeah.
And so little things like that, just to, so they weren't blindfolded about life and, the cost of a car and a house and, rent and what you have to do to be successful and, all those things and interest rates and all that. So I think it's just, it's just like training a canine, man. We underestimate the potential of what a canine can do. Sometimes is just, kids will surprise you, push them, encourage them, but don't give them too many trophies, about how you do it. But I think if I had to give you one key factor, it would be Jessica being home with them their entire upbringing. Absolutely, unequivocally. Mom being there 100% of the time to be focused on them. without a doubt. So with that, I had to go to work.
Boom. HDF 561 wants to know, I'm curious how Chief Ike is handling his son joining the fire service. I'm second generation and love the job, but I struggle with my kids showing interest and wanting to be a fireman.
Well, here's the deal. I think it's fucking crazy, disrespectful, and disgusting when somebody works on a fire department and they're going to do a full career, collect a pension from the taxpayers, and they wouldn't be proud if their kid got on the job. I hear firefighters say, I never want my kid to be a fucking firefighter. This job sucks. And it's like, they don't even know how good they got it. Right? And, you know, I said it at one of the conferences, Corley, about, I don't know, half a dozen meal kit. I said, man, Trevor's too smart to be a fireman. I said, what do we want, fucking stupid firemen?
Right.
Like that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. We need smart firemen. Like, you think fucking John Norman's not a fucking genius? I mean, literally, like Terry Hatton at, you know, Rescue 1 New York, they talked about that guy was like, you know, Chief Morris. I'd like to know what his IQ is. Mike Lombardo's IQ? It's like a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and on. These people are geniuses. They don't forget anything. They're like an elephant. And so that's what makes the fire service great, is when we can get somebody that academically can do advanced stuff, retain, you know, and like Brian Brush's book, the damn first print sold out, right?
Right.
Like, we need smart people to be writing books like Brian Brush's book that he just did. You know, like, it blows my mind, like, you know, that anybody who thinks somebody's too smart to be a firefighter. We need smart firefighters, right? And I don't think, like, I've never worked with a stupid, well, you know, maybe I have, but all the firefighters I work with are badasses, smart. Even the ones I don't like are smart. Now, they might not have some crazy formal education, but they can do anything. They can fix anything. Their common sense is off the chart, man. Like, you give them a problem, they're going to fix it. What was that old saying? Put like 2 ball bearings in a room with a firefighter, they'll break one and lose the other one. Well, you know, that's really not true. They'll fucking multiply them things, right? They'll turn it into 4 somehow. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I think firefighters are the smartest people in the world. If I was going to go to a deserted island, I'm not taking 4 neurosurgeons with me. I can fucking promise you that. Right. I'm taking 4 firemen with me. Like, seriously, what are you taking? I'm taking firefighters, right? Like, yeah. So, you know, those are things. So, man, I'm absolutely, our youngest son, Lucas, he's going to be a firefighter too. He's going to go to UF for 4 years, business management. And he's going to be a firefighter. And he's going to test and get in the volunteer system as soon as possible. And his ass will probably be driving home every weekend to ride to rig and driving back to Gainesville. So I'll be paying for a little extra gas. But I think it's awesome. It's the greatest job in the world. You know, Trevor wants to test June 24th, the application for the FDNY. And we'll see how it happens. I mean, 7 years ago is the last time they tested. There's 48,000 applicants. But you got to test. You don't know, you know what I mean, until you try. But if he did a career to Escambia, I'd love it. I think Escambia County Fire Rescue, pound for pound, is like the FDNY. I think we've done a good job mimicking the FDNY, because that's what we did, copied them, which is a positive thing. I mean, they established some good stuff. We go to a lot of fires. I think we've been averaging a working fire a day in 2024. I've been going to sometimes 2 fires in a day. I'm thinking this could be the busiest year since we went paid 24 years ago. So, you know, he gets to see a lot of stuff. He gets to be a real firefighter, not somebody just rides a fire truck. You know, we do a lot of special ops stuff. So I think it's awesome, man. You know, it's you know, we saw during the pandemic, you still get a paycheck. You still go to work. They still need us. Governor DeSantis has done good for us here through the FPF in the state of Florida. You know, our pension now is 3% multiplier. If you can do 33 years, get 99% pension, best out of your two out of your last 5 best years. You know, overtime counts. It's not like California. Our overtime counts on our pension. Then do an 8-year drop. I mean, shit, if you get on a job, I mean, if you wanted to, I'm not saying you want to, just calm down for you fucking people that are like counting down the days to your retirement. But for us that want to stay on the job, if you got on at 22 and you did 40 years to your 62, I mean, shit, you could retire at 100% pension and walk out with about a $1.5 million check and pay all your shit off.
It's hard to knock, brother. There's your answer. Great answer, Chief. I want to ask you this, and this is a very broad question. You can take it whatever direction you want, but I want to ask you this question. And it's a dangerous question. I say, walk me through your brain. And I know you teach week-long. Yeah, you teach week-long classes on this, so please understand. When you roll up to a fire, I want you to put into words your Rolodex. When you roll up, first do.
Okay, so first and foremost, when I go to work in my head, this ain't no bullshit. And some of my brothers from Escambia are watching, so they can quality assurance. Every time I go to work, I think I'm fucking going to a fire. I have brainwashed myself my whole career. When I go to work, I absolutely positively think I'm going to a fire. I get on duty like I'm going to the worst fire of my career. I mean, I spend so much time fucking my radio, my batteries, my air pack. Like, my brain is brainwashed. So right off the gate, I'm already mentally ready. When I go to bed at night, I think I'm going to a fire. And you let me go like 2 shifts without going to a fire, and shit, I might just sleep in the Chiefs buggy just so I'll be 30 seconds quicker getting there. And like the other day, I said, hey, man, we're due for like an apartment fire, good job or whatever. And that night we had a converted motel fire. I really don't know when it's going to happen, but I know this, I know for us, our frequency and when shit's silent for so long, it's a matter of happening. I'm going into work tomorrow night, and I'll be on duty till Monday morning. So that's 84 hours. I'm thinking I'm going to do 4 jobs in them 82 hours, 4 fires. So I'm mentally going to go to work ready. So as soon as the box comes out and I hear whatever, the address or the building, right off the bat, I'm going in to not like type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going in to, overall size, complexity, size of the compartmentalization. Is there fire-rated doors, 1 hour, 2 hour? They have self-closing doors. Is it a metal roof? Is it a composite roof? Is it a flat roof? Is it sheetrock? Is it plaster? Is it tongue and groove? Is it hard to get in? Is it hard to get out? If it's an apartment complex, is it day sleepers? Is it night sleepers? I'm thinking of the arrival sequence. On my roster every morning, I print 5 rosters. I highlight the officer. Like, that's what matters to me. That's who I'm talking to. They dictate the company. They dictate the tempo. If the officer don't want to go in, the company ain't going in. If the officer wants to go in, the company's going in, right? And then I want to know, so when I'm going to the fire, my brain, one of my most important things, if I'm not going to be first, I want to know who the first 2 company officers. When I'm driving there, if I have 5 minutes to get there, like the other night, I had a very mature, very experienced lieutenant that was going to be first in, and I ended up catching him, so I got in there with him at the same time. And I know he's aggressive, but he's not stupid. See, you can be aggressive and stupid.
Right.
What I want you to do is be aggressive and smart. And actually, when we got there, I said over the radio, I called him, and I said, take an extra 30 seconds. I said this on the TAC channel, TAC 3. Battalion 2, Engine 1, hey, Lou, take an extra 30 seconds to size this up. This ain't a private dwelling. This ain't a mobile home. This is a converted 1962 motel that I was pretty confident had a flat roof at one time, and now it's got a metal roof over it. And you probably saw a picture on Facebook. Smoke's pushing from like 4 or 5, glow in the back. There's add-ons. And there was 11 people that admitted they lived there, but 17 lived there. I had 5 people walking out of this place. So right off the bat, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking back to that conversation with Chief Lieb that night, a couple months after his fire at Twin Parks. And I'm like, if I had 5 people pulled out of this motel unconscious, how many firefighters does it take to do CPR on 5 unconscious civilians?
Yeah.
At least 10.
At least 10.
Pumping and somebody blowing, right? But we send 8 to a nursing home to work on a car. So I got 10 people just to work on 5. See, but if you ain't fucking been to a fire with 5 people drug out of a building, you ain't even thinking about that staffing. But see, I'm thinking about that staffing. I'm thinking about when the first due, second due, third due company get in there and they're 14 minutes inside, the air's getting low and they get jammed up. How many people and how much time do I have to get to them and get them out? So I'm thinking about how we getting in, how we getting out, what's the smoke doing, how's the fire travel based on interior, is it paneling or sheetrock? Is it single pane or thermal pane? What's the window of opportunity? Will it self-vent? Will it not self? If it self-vents, early notification, a neighbor sees it. If it don't vent, it might become oxygen limited. Radiation feedback is going to be a little higher. What's the height of the ceiling? Just like the old video from 1988, Vincent Dunn's lower ceiling, boom, it radiate back. It's just like a smaller cooler. The ice is going to last longer. When I'm responding, in my head, I want to have what's on the box alarm. So I got 5 companies. Everybody's at 4. That's 20. I got 2 battalion chiefs. I'm at 22. I got a safety officer. I'm at 23. So now I got 23 people. If I got 23 people, I go to Chief Clark's book, and it's 50 gallons per person. It's 23 times 50 is my GPM fire attack. So now if I'm going to build, what's my length times width divided by 3? That's my fire flow based on just a rough number under the NFA. So all that shit, like I'm telling you now, but it's in my head and I'm not even thinking about it. It's
right.
My
That's the
brain is on, like when a fire's over, if I sat on the tailgate commanding a fire, I'd be exhausted. My brain is literally going 100 miles an hour. The other night, I'm thinking about the fact that it's center block, so they can't breach to self-rescue themselves. Windows are a little higher in the rear usually. Some of them doesn't have rear doors, one way in, one way out. Hoarding conditions, tongue and groove, metal roof, awning windows, right? I mean, the ones that come like this, them bitches are dangerous. Like to try to get out of one of those and shit's going bad. And then I could look in a parking lot and tell the place, look what's outside. That's what's going to tell you what's inside, right? So those are all like, factors for me on, time delay tactics. And, I guarantee, like, I want to know what size line, what's the location it needs to go, which is going to determine the length, which is going to determine my staffing. Right off the bat, I'm not doing shit until I make sure that the line's the right size, right location, right length, right staffing. You're fucking right. I'm going to micromanage it. If your dumbass has got a 3-person engine company trying to take a 200-foot pre-connect to the 2nd floor of a Charlie Delta fucking bedroom fire with a return staircase from the Charlie to the Alpha, and you don't fucking ask for another company to back you up because you think it's promotional package like engine 1's attack, engine 2's backup, truck 1's vent, truck 2's search. You're just fucking regurgitating some bullshit out of a textbook. I don't need nobody throwing a fucking ladder to the 2nd floor because you ain't going to get to the 2nd floor because you ain't got somebody at the front door, somebody at the bottom of the stairs, somebody at the top of the stairs. And here's the deal. You know what micromanaging is? Is when I get on the fucking roof and I hold the saw and I run the motherfucker for you. But when I tell you to get on the roof and I say cut it on the Charlie side of the peak, that's because I assume you're probably not thinking that the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour to A side. If I don't say shit and I sit up on the roof and I turn around and I do it, and then I look at their fucking cutting on the Alpha side of the peak, we're going to burn that motherfucker down. They'll say, well, Chief, I didn't think about the wind. No, but if I tell you, cut the roof on the Charlie side of the peak, I ain't getting on the roof. You still get to crank it. You're probably going to drop start it and pull the fucking cord out, even though I told you to put the bitch on the ground, short choke it. Here's the deal. When I give you a nugget over the radio, I'm not micromanaging.
Orchestrating it. Conducting.
I'm not blowing. I'm not beating. I'm just keeping us all together because you ain't the only fucker in the band. Everybody's tune has got to match the music. And I'm the one that's writing the music. So play my music the way I want you to play my music. And when it's over, we can all be proud. And I'm going to be proud because you kicked ass running that 32th K-12 on a complicated roof. You searched hoarding conditions, got it all clear. You were able to push in and put out 4 rooms of fire off the booster tank. So I'm doing nothing but trying to set you up for success, because if we fail, I fail. If we succeed, you succeeded. So I don't want to go to a fire. I asked the question on Facebook the other day, what does commanding, fireground command mean to you? If you're the fireground commander and you go to a fire and you just say, I'm on scene, I'm A Street Command, and you get there first and the engine pulls up, they park where they want, they stretch what they want, they go in whatever door they want. Next rig comes in and they just search if they want, or they vent if they want. Or what if the SOG seat assignments don't line up because it's a converted dwelling, it's a 30-mile-an-hour wind, it's fucking pouring down rain, we got reserve apparatus, we don't have Rams on a rig, the ladder company's out of service. The chief's got to know when to use timeouts. Got to know when to time out, right? Got to know when to punt, when to return, when to go with it when it's 4th and long.
Love it, man.
So when I go to a fire, I'm probably thinking about more than the 23 people who are on the box alarm together are thinking. It's not because I'm smarter than them. It's because I came to work wanting to go to that fire. I came to work wanting that to not be a Sanger Theater show. I wanted to be Broadway near Rescue One in New York City in Lower Manhattan. I want every fire to be a Broadway show. I like playing G.I. Joe and Barbie dolls. If you got the fucking aircraft carrier, you know what I'm talking about? Remember the old...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody had a friend that had one.
Oh, yeah.
George Paws had the aircraft carrier, my friend. George... If a dude's got the fucking aircraft carrier, get the fucking aircraft carrier. Let's get it all out, man. Don't save shit for a rainy day. Lay in, lay out, stretch just to stretch. Hey, just one for the bonus, man. Just one for the bonus, right? If a 6-pack's good, why not take a 12-pack? I mean, really, you know what I'm saying? So you really don't want to know what's going on in my brain. Like, you know, my brain is thinking about a gazillion things. I'm thinking about wind direction, flow paths, building construction, tactical sequence of when the attack gets in and when the smoke's going to get humid, based on when the truck gets in to search, based on when the second line might not back them up because it needs to go to the rear in case there's hoarding conditions. A backup line ain't going to make a difference. They're going to fucking have to shoot it through the windows to buy them time to get over the pile of shit to get to the fire. I'm thinking about how long they've been in there. So if the Mayday happens, my brain's already rules of air management, the Rome book by the Seattle guys, right? Oh shit, man. Them guys, their bell's not ringing, but I got a timestamp. And all those things are going through my head. And I focus strictly on the firefighters operating in the IDLH. Who's inside, who's on the roof. I'm not worried about people out in the street. And the bystanders can tell me if they fall over and something happens to them. I'm worried about people wearing air packs, breathing air, operating in the IDLH in a building. And I don't always say, hey, XYZ company's RIT or fast. I don't necessarily on a fireground designate RIT, but in my brain, like the other night, the staffing, like when I transmitted a third alarm, so I did it all hands, which means every company, I immediately had something I needed them to do. If right when you get there, every company on the box alarm is as an assignment before they even get there, you're already fucking behind the 8 ball. Time, distance, travel. Those 5 companies on a map, now the next 5 companies are out here. And the third alarm's out here. So you better get them coming. Don't wait to them wait longer, right? And here's the deal. If these 5 companies come to a fire, that's 5 vacant firehouses. At least they're moving up now. If the dispatcher goes, boop, 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 engine 45, station, move up, relocation for coverage at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's get up. Let's take a shit. Let's take a piss. Let's get a peanut butter and jelly. But beep, beep, engine 45, third alarm and transmitted at 1714 North A Street. Bam, out the door. Fucking hauling ass. Right when they pull up, we can cancel the third alarm. Go relocate. You just got the fastest fucking station relocation assignment in the fucking history of the fire service. Dude, you want to get a guy relocating at 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking transmit a second alarm, a third alarm. You don't need them. Then they're on the fucking road moving. They're 90 seconds quicker already because they don't have to get up, put their shit on. The rig's rolling. And you don't have to damn be a genius to figure that shit out. And like Jay Camilla's dad used to say in Oakland, the chiefs command the fire shouldn't be worried about the what if call. They need to be worried about the fire that's going on right now. Right now, that's my football game. Right now. Not the one next week. I got to win this game or I'm not playing next week. We're in the playoffs. Let's win this game. We win this game, then we'll figure out the next game.
Go ahead.
All hands pick up. It's a hell of a lot easier when you got a lot of people. Now your exposure time is reduced because the ability to put this shit up. And I'm going to tell you, these fucking union firefighters in this country, they'll bitch when they're, oh, they didn't call this company. They didn't call this, they should have called this if they're on duty because they wanted to go to the fire. Here's how it works. Firefighters that aren't on duty, a good job happens in their city or their county. They're off duty. They're at home. A big fire happens. Fucking, they called the half the county that fucking chicken shit fire. But if they were on duty and they were the next company up that didn't get to go to the job, why the fuck didn't they call more people? They're beating our brothers down. They're wearing them out. They're killing their backs. We're running 20 medical. You're fucking hypocrite. You want to go if you're on duty, but if you're off duty, they call too many people. And guess what? This is nationwide. I go all over the country. It's a nationwide deal. Unions created first for safety, second for pay and benefits. Because you fucking got to be alive to collect the paycheck, right? If you're a union firefighter, you shouldn't accept your organization not sending enough people to adequately get the job done and have depth on the bench in case some bullshit happens like an explosion, collapse, mayday, lost, caught, disoriented. And if you're adding firehouses and you're adding dual company houses and you're adding staffing, stop fucking fighting fires like you did with 1/3 of staffing 10 years ago. It ain't 2010. It's 2024. LEDs. That's what we use now. LEDs. Get with the times.
I got hold on, let me timestamp. Then I got questions coming at you, and I want to.
What you need to worry about is what color is the trash can.
Hold on, we'll get to the trash. I want to get you Josh Everett's question because he's asking questions because right now this is right in because people are saying if you love this scrap, you got to go to a command battalion chief boot camp. You got to go to COBC. That's what they're saying. So Josh had a question for you. I think I wrote it down here. Maybe it's in my notes over here. Josh Everett said, what are your plans with CFT? You said that this was the last COBC, and I'm glad to have passes for the next. Let me see what else here. Hold on. Sorry. I know you have talked about slowing it down but really want to do it again.
The fucking afterburners, I just kicked them in. We're going fucking wide open now. I got 2 kids that go into the fire service. I'm fucked. That's what I am. I'm fucked now. I'm going to be on Adderall 24/7 until they're ready to ride the rig under the most incompetent, fucking suicide, fucking kamikaze, fucking idiot that wants to fucking burn helmets up so my kids know better when they working riding back step with them fucking idiots.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. With all the
Guess what? Shit changed.
Yeah.
Just like that. Last October, son says, I want to be a firefighter. 3 weeks later, I'm at Dr. Reese's office with my youngest, and Dr. Reese has been seeing him since he was born. So, Lucas, I've been asking you this for years. You're graduating high school. What are you going to do? I'm going to UF business management. I'll run a business, and I'm going to be a firefighter. My fucking jaw dropped. What? Where the shit that come from? So, guess what? Tactical deviation. I have pivoted 9 conferences between now and the end of next year, $950. So what am I doing? I'm trying to provide the lowest cost training for anybody else that's trying to fucking train the most important Probie.
There you go. Josh,
Mike Lombardo is going to open up ODP this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Also, Mike Lombardo's coming back on the scrap. One of my favorite people to have on the scrap. November, we planned it for November 5th, and he actually called me and said, Corley, November 5th is election night. We can't have a scrap on election night. So we're doing it November 3rd to warm up for election night. So just so everybody knows. But
I'll tell you this. Mike Lombardo, unequivocally, positively in the top 5 biggest influences of my career.
Brother.
Top 5. Like, unbelievable, man. Just that guy is a genius. I mean, if you haven't watched his scrap or listened to him speak or talk, the guy's a genius. I think if he reads it one time, he never forgets it.
No.
And phenomenal speaker. The guy was he's just marvelous. I mean, and a gentleman too. But so you got to go, if you haven't watched this crap, go back. And I was fortunate to be mentored. He's ridden with me to a shitload of fires, given me a lot of direction. And so when you have when I go to a fire, I do what all my mentors taught me to do. And I don't know shit, man. In the 90s, I did a bunch of buffing all over the country, cities, and and then obviously I've done buffing in New York and Buffalo, East Orange, Newark, Chicago, Miami-Dade, and those things are critical that also drive the way my brain thinks, because you just got to be fast, man. Time compressed decision making. Dr. Klein, Sources of Power, the book with the chess piece. You have the answers, but you got to have them right now. And you got to have 7 of them at the exact same time. And you got to be able to have those 7. And then when a fire's over, right then, you might not even be able to tell somebody why you did it. Later that night or the next day, you'll be able to tell them because your brain knew it. You didn't even know it. It's just
Start catching up.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Matt Musicant wrapped it up. He said Chief Lombardo's mustache should get its own scrap. And that really does kind of. And
he cut it off to donate money. He, at one of our conferences years and years ago, he helped with the first ODP. He stayed at my house, and it was one day a week for 10 weeks, but he raised over $1,000 for us at one of our conferences years ago, and shaved it off at the bar on Pensacola Beach. It was pretty cool.
Kyle said it best. He said Mike Lombardo has been to more fires on Tuesday morning than the entire chat room has been to in their entire career.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. One thing that Josh wanted to ask, and I really like this question. He says, you're doing a lot of battalion chief boot camps, and they're very successful. He's coming back to come to another one, but he loves them. Hey, I want to talk about County Fire Tactics, the book. And also, do you ever have plans to make battalion chief boot camp into a book?
Yes. Well, that'll kind of be, so here's one. I'm right here. So the October sold out. We still have a few spots, and the one has spots in February is $550. The other ones were $850 and $970. It's at the Hilton, and so we eliminated the breakfast and lunch and that, so people they don't have to front as much money. But you just sit and listen. You come in on Sunday night, you have to arrive Sunday afternoon. Sunday night, you're doing a 200-question test. We're talking to you. So we start bam on Monday morning, and we go till about 5:30 or so every day. We never get out before 5:20. We go till 5:30. The positive is our breaks are on the money exactly. We go 8 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10. You get a 30-minute break. Then you go 10 to 11:30. So it's 90 minutes, 30-minute break, 90 minutes, 2-hour lunch break. And that way you could literally eat and then go take an hour nap, get up, drink some coffee, and be wide open. It's what makes the week go by so quick. In the afternoon, we go 90 minutes, 30-minute break, and then we go about 2 hours for the last session. And then you're right there. You eat. You don't have to travel nowhere. The lunch, is right there. So, it's 20 90-minute sessions, or really it's 15 90-minute sessions, 5 2-hour sessions. And then Friday night, we go to about 6 or 6:30. You do a 2-hour into conference party. You come back and we give your certificate and plaque at 9 p.m. We let you out by 10 p.m. and then everybody leaves out the next morning. So you come in Sunday, you leave Saturday morning, the group bonds. I teach the whole thing. And I just go 90 miles an hour. And at the end of the conference, we send you home. This one's I think 83 pages. But the first 3, Kyle Romagus and Scott Slocum, independent of each other, were just typing as fast as they can notes. They'd meet at night. And so this is really the start of the book. Kyle could tell us, but I think Kyle's got 100 hours of me lecturing over the years from different conferences, Battalion Chief Boot Camp. So that's going to be the book. I'm not sure that I'm going to write a battalion chief book. This is it. But really what this is the start of the county fire tactics textbook that, is definitely going to come out. That's what my textbook's going to be. County fire tactics, how to fight fires in a diverse environment where you're going from high rises in one part of the county to barns in the other, an engine company operating by itself for 20 minutes to, putting 27 people on the fire ground in 8 minutes. That's, we're diverse. Ladder 12, if I have a fire at the spur, it's about a mile from station 12, and I'm 17, 16, 11, 12, Navy fire, all getting almost at the exact same time. You'll have 5 companies pulling up to what we call the spur at the same time. In the north end, we got engine 4-man, John Wayne time. They're going north by themselves. And so that's what county fire tactics is going to be, is, understanding when to lay in, when to lay out, reverse, forward, when to booster back up, when to hit it with a tanker, when do you shut the nozzle down and don't flow even though the fire's still burning, because you need to burn some of your fuel packages down to maximize the GPM available for the BTM based on a fire load capability on a square footage and building construction. So, I've been lucky, fortunate, spoiled to get hired by a phenomenal fire department that's been growing for 24 years. So, when I started out as a battalion chief, I had 319, 4 people with me. That was it. Like, we went to fire sometimes and nobody else came.
Right.
And then got a second company.
Right.
And then a year later got another company. And then 2 years later got another. So over the last 21 years, I've been calling myself, my call sign's been Battalion 2 for 21 years. It has been like, my growth has been amazing. And it really scares the shit out of me because I'm still learning shit all the time. And my opinion's changing. Like what I think, what I do. I think there's a time to stay in a car. There's a time to be in the back of the car. There's time to be in the front yard. I got 2 cameras that were going at the same time at a fire about 3 weeks ago. And what one video's perspective showed in the back of my vehicle is totally different what the video looking through the front of the house did. And Chief Walker from Oklahoma City about 15 plus years ago did a class at FDIC. Chief Walker did where he had helmet cam from inside and he's outside, and what he sees is different than what the boss is seeing inside. Right. And having that, perspective of what's going on is been just eye-opening. And, I would love, man, God willing, I'd like to do 15 more years as Battalion 2. I'd like to do 36 years, Battalion 2, Escambia County Fire Rescue. I think if I could do 15 more, I think 36 years of Battalion 2, I might have figured out how to be a battalion chief.
Can I come and do some write-outs?
You can.
Okay. I wanted to get it on record that you said yes. No, I want to ask you this real quick because this is on topic. It's very, very relevant right now, and that is the Mayday. Or no, not Mayday. I'm sorry. Let me find the question here. Man, I lost it. Scrolling. I'm scrolling. Thoughts on the data, not drama article that just came out referencing OSHA's 2 in, 2 out. Basically, Scott Thompson, Bill Carey, Nick Ledeen, Chris Thompson, and I'm forgetting somebody there. Please. Sean Duffy. Yeah. Those guys wrote that article on the 2 in, 2 out being reevaluated. You have thoughts on it. Have you read it?
I haven't read it,
Okay.
But I'm familiar with the article.
Right.
And I printed 12 copies of the United States Fire Administration thing years ago. I brought it to a staff meeting in binders to give to the other chiefs years ago. And I've been talking about it for 10 years. Most people don't know the difference between IRIT and RIT. Under the United States Fire Administration, IRIT is the initial rapid intervention team. Two people, OSHA, 2 in, 2 out, until the box alarm assignment arrives, which is based on your authority having jurisdiction, so whatever your department decides it is. And then you're technically supposed to have a 4-person RIT team. So I've always gone with what, Andy Frederick said, man, 2 out ain't saving 2 in. Just put the fire out and we'll all be okay. You go back to, the Phoenix study with Brett Tarver, 12 to get 1 and all that other stuff. I absolutely think that when a 4-person engine company pulls up on a private dwelling with a potential of somebody being inside, that 3 of them 4 need to be like pushing the IDLH. Right. Nozzle back up, the door firefighter, whether they're at the door, in the bottom of the stairs, whatever it is. So I've always thought it was absurd when a fire department pulls up, the first company is establishing a RIT team before shit anybody's even doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't put my life jacket on when I get on a boat. Now, if I'm coming back and I'm running into red radar and shit's getting nasty, I put my life jacket on, right?
Right.
Absolutely, the fire service is going in the right direction. But I knew it was going to go in the right direction. I just told Ray when we were down in Costa Rica last week, I was like, Ray, remember on the phone when I said, like, I don't know, over 10 years ago, I said, Ray, man, we're going to win. Ray's like, why? Why? I said, because what we're doing is for the right reason. There's no ulterior motive. This isn't to sell articles or books. We're not trying to sound cool. We're protecting the fire. No, we're here what we're here for, man. We're thinking like military people. Our job is that we risk within our capability, staffing, response models, modes, training. I actually, under my messenger, I communicated with Bill Carey a long time ago before he even started the data and drama thing about, like, I used to say it in classes all the time. Zero documented people vertically venting residential buildings in full gear breathing air. The guy in Dallas wasn't breathing air, right?
Right.
It don't mean it's just not dangerous. People dying on a damn hose line, death on the nozzle, black fire, right? So, hopefully I'm answering your question. I absolutely think they need to eliminate the 2 in, 2 out. I think we need to just focus on better tactics. Size up that's relevant to your organization, not just out of a textbook. Your size up's got to be related to who's coming behind you. Like, I mean, do you have an MLS team or do you have, the Premier League, right? Is this SEC football or whatever? I don't know what y'all call that other shit around the country. I mean, are we playing SEC football or are we playing that other college football, right? Or is this the NFL? So at the end of the day, we got to make sure organizations are training, sizing up, and deploying based on their organization, not the FDNY and not a 2-station suburban fire department. Now, somebody asked about my book. I absolutely, unequivocally think there's a difference between a county fire department, urban, and suburban or rural. A county fire department is one that goes into rural and suburban areas, but also goes into urban areas with high rises and has county resources. Now, Escambia County Fire Rescue, we put 5 companies, 3 inches of squad, a ladder, 2 chiefs, and a safety officer, on duty 24 hours a day without using mutual aid. And in some parts of our county, man, we're meeting 1710. So we are totally different than if, you get like in Passaic, New Jersey, where heavy density, 100,000 people living in 5 square miles. So the fire service has got to start focusing on, are you rural, suburban, county, or urban, and then build your strategy and tactics based on that, and then deploying it. And, like, if I was building a brand new fire department from scratch, nobody knew anything. No, I wouldn't pick the triple layer load. No. But I can tell you, I'm going to continue to fight for us to keep the triple layer load in Escambia County because it's what we've had for 40 years. And our firefighters are awesome with it. They kick ass. I put videos on YouTube. I go to fires. They do awesome. They've got thousands and thousands of hours of training. If tomorrow we change to any other load, what does Escambia County have to start doing immediately on all shifts 7 days a week?
Yeah, you got to train.
Training on the new load. So those hours now can't be training on TIC or RIT or search or special operations, right? So we have to think sometimes, like this new gadget came along, right? It might be better, but if it's only 5% better, do we really spend 8% of our budget? Because the other 92% is paying payroll, right?
Right.
Or is it not enough much better to spend that money, right?
Right.
Because you're always going to have shit that's coming out a little better, but we just can't buy something new just because it's a little bit better. And you got to think about, your purchases, and when we're talking about training, hose loads. I mean, traveling the country, teaching, going to conferences. I see some of the coolest shit, man. There's some smart firefighters out there. And I'm like, man, it's awesome. But I'm not taking that back to Escambia. 23 station, county fire department, they're running their asses off, medicals, fires, training. Like, the hours that they would have to invest is not worth the return on top of what other stuff they can't be working on. And that's where you have to kind of like think of the chief officer level in regards to the investment and the return. So, you know, like the 2 in, 2 out, like we got to ask ourselves, what's the return of 2 in, 2 out? What we need to do is make sure we're going on fire, we're sending enough staffing, and that everybody understands the on deck thing. And that if a mayday is transmitted, do you have enough people operating tactically on the fire ground that most likely companies already engaged in tactics to suppress the fire are the ones that's going to fix the mayday? The RIT company, Fast Company, which hopefully is 4 trained firefighters, now are going to be just a reinforcement of that on deck company, or they're going to pick up the slack of the line that was left because they went to do this, or maybe they're going to get fans because now the fire's knocked down and we can fire up a bunch of fans, get the smoke out. So now that's going to eliminate the mayday because they can stand up and walk out and all of those things. And I think the fire service is graduating, going that direction. But we definitely need more chief officers to be tacticians. We need more chief officers that were firefighters that give a shit about what kind of lights their firefighters are carrying, what kind of air packs, what kind of saws, what kind of blades. Like, talking don't put out a fire. A portable radio don't put out a fire. You got to make sure you understand this, and you got to make sure that that music can be read by the people that are playing the instruments. And all companies aren't created equal. When you're going to send a company to cut a peak roof, I mean, do they know how to do the Buffalo, Milwaukee peak roof operation? If they don't, you're just checking a box like it's a promotional exam. Don't just talk to talk. And talk, if you're going to talk so somebody can hear you. Have command presence. Be assertive. Be confident. Because that matters on the fire ground. You got to have a plan. If you don't, somebody's going to come up with their own plan. And that company's going to have its own plan. This company's going to have its own plan. And none of them are coming together. So now you're just going to have a bunch of damn noise, like 7 different bagpipers that just learned how to play bagpipes last year. They're going to suck.
Hold on. I got a timestamp. All right. Yes, I love it. I've got a couple of questions I want to throw at you before I get to the final stuff. Michael Dozier, the company officer, he wants to know, this is a leadership question I'm throwing at you, but I want to get your perspective on it. Chief, you got a new company officer to your shift. What expectations do you give them when you meet them on that first tour?
Well, that's first and foremost, and Corley, you probably heard me say this in the big room at Hilton. I don't ever complain. I don't ever claim to be a leader, like, or whatever. I don't teach leadership classes.
Right.
I brought this book right here. Like, my emotional intelligence is like a 1-year-old, right? Like, I already had 5 like hissy fits on here, right?
You sell yourself
I love this
short.
job so much it gets the best of me, right? Now, I do have more patience than I've ever had. I've backed off, and I definitely lead different. So, but in regards to a new company officer, I really don't have to say anything to them. Like, because, I mean, I've been at my fire department since, it went paid. I was the first training officer for the first 4 years. I've been battalion 221. If an officer gets assigned to my battalion, they don't know what the fuck I expect. They've been living under a rock. Like, they've been living under a rock. Like, everybody on my job knows, like, what I expect, right? I expect you to take a nap in the afternoon or rest, because the safest firefighter is a well-rested firefighter. I expect you to come to work hydrated, ready to work. I don't care what you do on your days off. But when you're at work, be into the job, be the best. Absolutely. I want you to have some downtime. I want you to take a nap. I want you to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a priority. Breaking bread at the kitchen table is important. Hanging out together is important. I don't like people going to the bunk rooms. It's not even a rule. Like, and a lot of the new people probably don't know this. I fucking hate video games in a firehouse. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I don't think an Xbox should be allowed in an American firehouse. I'd rather you go sit in couches in a truck bay and talk to each other. I'd rather you sleep than play Xbox. Those video games, are making you tired. They're wearing your brain down, right? So I would rather you read a book, rather you sleep, rather you make a meal. Hell, I'd rather you damn repaint your barbecue grill that you brought in the back of your pickup truck out back. But you know, that's it. You know, like, and most everybody knows, like, I used to have 69 rules of engagements. Shall wear air on a car fire, you know, shall stretch an inch and 3/4. Officer will back up the nozzle firefighter on an interior attack. And, you know, those things have been out there for 20 years. So pretty much everybody knows that. You know, I don't go for waist straps not being buckled. If I'm commanding the fire, I want a true Vulcan, whatever. I don't care what brand it is. I want one of these lights down by your waist. That's what's going to find little Johnny or little Susie, not this little chicken shit light up here, the one on your helmet. And if you get jammed up or somebody else gets jammed up, that's the light that's probably going to save you or save them. Because when you fall down on the ground, if that light's on, that's the one that's going to be on the ground at the clearest potential air of no smoke for a fire to, you know, for somebody to visually, you know, see you, if you will. So those, you know, those are things. So I don't really have to tell them. They know, you know what I mean? Like, stretch lines, breathe air. I like G.I. Joe and Barbie dolls, man. You know, you don't want to be in my battalion and go to fires with me if you don't like putting a lot of hose on the ground, throwing ladders. Like, I want to get everything out of this. I'm looking for a reason to put more lines on the ground. And if you got a Probie on the back of your rig and you're the 7th due rig there, we're going to probably stretch the 7th line. So that new firefighter, he doesn't know we don't really need that line. So now they get the shakes out because all they've ever done is stretched out a drill tower. So sometimes, like, I'll have a company do something because it's a brand new firefighter on the back, and I'm trying to give them an opportunity under stress inoculation at a real call that if they fail, it won't matter, because by the time it matters, they'll have already done it on an insignificant incident where we could have done without it, and they're getting better at it. I mean, fuck. We'll take companies off duty. We'll send them to the drill tower. But you get a smell of smoke on the 3rd floor of a 4-story apartment building, and you want to fucking send everybody home? Like, why wouldn't you let all the companies come in and see where you would park them? Because it's 10 o'clock in the morning where all the cars are. But the next day, you'll have them at the drill tower. Like, just, that's a better drill. They call 911. You own that apartment complex. Make the most of it. Get out, get in the building, walk around the building. Oh, check the hydrant. If you're the company supposed to catch a hydrant, you're fucking sitting on, get your fat ass off the rig and flush the plug. Last shift, smoke in a Burger King, 2 o'clock in the morning, inches 17, checks the plug. Corley, it was fucking broke.
Dead hydrant.
What if they they didn't check it?
Right.
They late, like, so they called and they said it's broken. We turned it into ECUA and then went down to the next hydrant, checked it, it worked. Next day, the Battalion 3, I heard him on the radio. He calls the dispatcher. I heard him. I was sitting in my office. Hydrant was broke last night. The water department's on site right now fixing a hydrant. I've had that a half a dozen times in my career. Like, why in the hell would you sit on a plug for 5 minutes that you might have to catch, and during that 5 minutes not make sure that it's ready?
No, I bet you that 95% of the fire service would just sit there and wait to get put back
99%.
Well, I was being generous.
Unless they got a chief that tells them to get their fat ass off the fucking rig and do something.
I love the fact that I asked you the leadership question, and you qualified it by saying, "Hey, I'm not a leader," and then you went into a very articulate version of, "I'm going to take care of my people and I'm going to make sure they're competent," which I love. I love it, Chief. I really do, man.
And here's the deal. You know, I love Escambia County Fire Rescue. I love it. And guys at work have been hearing, I love it more now than I ever have in the history of it. I think we're in the best times in the history of our fire department. I think our trajectory is beyond anything I ever dreamed. It's unbelievable. It's marvelous. And I'm excited to think 2 of my kids might work there for a career. It's hands down. We go to more fires than any other fire department in the 850. We have the best fire culture. You know, we don't all want to go to dinner together. That's fine. But I tell you what, the ones I don't want to go to dinner with, they're fucking good at their job. And when I go to a fire, we all come together as a team and we kick ass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody liked Michael Jordan, but shit, man, the Chicago Bulls fucking kicked ass in the 90s, right? You know, so at the end of the day, like, you know, we have awesome firefighters. I'm just telling you, man, like people have asked me this over the years, like that don't know me around the country. And they're like, how often do you go to a fire and you're like embarrassed? You get upset? Never. You could ask 30 firefighters on the job how many times they've ever seen me at a fire mad, disappointed, and say they sucked and they screwed this. It just, I mean, it might have happened early on, but I wasn't mad because we were infants. We were learning. Like,
right.
I mean, our lieutenants now, man, some of them have been to so many fires and have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, they can do it asleep, standing on their head. Like, I don't even need to go to the fire. And I give a lot less direction than I did 10 or 15 years ago, because 10 or 15 years ago, I was giving direction to that person who's still that same person riding in the front right seat.
Yeah.
They got it, man. They know, they know when to deviate, know what to do. And so they're phenomenal. And the only thing I do say that sucks is when you got a fire department that's good and they're good at what they do, and you know, you're successful in the fire ground most of the time, it keeps you from really meeting your max potential because you're more likely to become lazy. I just said this to a lieutenant the other day. He's a pretty, you know, phenomenal firefighter and officer. And absolutely, he gets the shit done. He gets the job. But I was just like, what if you just put in 30 minutes every day? How much better would you be? See, when you're good, you're good. But what happens if you're good and you're just living off past investments, right? Right? Like,
oh, yeah.
You got to pay every day. Like Tom Brady, man, he flew around the world to go see Ronaldo and see how he works out and what he eats and what he does. Like, so the thing that amazes me in a fire service is people will get good at this job and then they just live off of yesterday's good. Like you don't want to still learn something. I mean, shit, like Bob Morris, man, like, you know, he's like 75. Guy's still sitting in classes. Bill Gustin still sitting in classes, writing notes, reading articles, studying. He's still getting better. And I see these people that are badass, awesome, kick-ass firefighters, and they're like reading no fire books, no fire articles, doing no fire training, going to no fire car. I'm talking about across the board. I'm like,
right,
this isn't
right.
Like, and so many times guys on my job, they'll watch the scrap and they're so sensitive. It's like they're sitting in the back row and they're talking about molesting kids and they're like thinking that the preacher's talking to them or something. You know what I mean? Like, chill out, dude. I'm not talking about you. I go all over the country. The fire service is pretty much the same everywhere you go. Just change the T-shirt, change the color of the fire truck. And the fire service is awesome. It's awesome.
It is, bro.
But what if we were driven? What if the fire service was driven like sports?
Right.
Like Billy Napier, the coach of the Florida Gators. His ass will be fucking fired if he don't do a better job this year and next year. Right?
Absolutely.
See, there's like a grade. See, we don't get it great. Our fire department, they're not comparing us to next week or last week or another fire department.
Absolutely.
So we never know how good somebody can be. We're not making somebody train 5 days for 90 minutes on the pitch, right? Or 9 innings or 4 quarters, right? So my question is, what if the entire fire service, absolutely did a quality 1-hour drill? That's it. 24-hour shift, 1 hour. The other 23, your ass slept, cooked filet mignons. I don't give a shit. Cooked fish, do whatever. 1 hour and 24 hours. Coffee table sometimes. Sometimes you bring a rip bag in the day room if it's clean. You know what I mean? All that decon, just, you know, whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be in full gear. 1 hour every shift. If you work 1 on 2 off, it's 120 hours a year. What is 120 broken down into 1 hour drills? In vocational education, the 1 hour drill is more powerful than if you did 3 weeks at 40 hours a week. So 120 hours in a year, 1 hour at a time, quality drills is a force multiplier. It's way more than going to class 8 to 5 Monday through Friday for 3 weeks and 120. The 1 hour a shift for 120 shifts in a year, you're going to get so much more out of it than just 40 hour, because your brain can only comprehend it, you know, so much. So that's my question. And I'm more relaxed about it now as a whole. But like, you know, I've had people say it before. Like, they'll just ask me something and I'll go on like a 20-minute talk about it at a fire or whatever. And they'll come like, Chief, how did you know that? Well, somebody taught me. I read. I went to a class. I went to a conference. And, like all the time. And I did a drill because the lieutenant asked me to come out last shift. 3 companies met at a large apartment complex that just opened. And so we just went over like standpipes, elevators, mid-rise, all that stuff. And I fucking loved it, man. Like, I guess I talked for an hour and a half, wide ass open. And I loved it. And at the end, we had some brand new folks that just got hired. And I said, hey, I'm never going to say no. If the officer asked me to come out, I'm going to come out and drill. But my days, like, of 10 or 15 years ago, I used to force myself on companies. I made them drill. I teach. I mean, I had a daily read that you had to do. You know what? One day I woke up and I just said, man, I'm fucking killing myself. I'm killing myself. I'm force feeding them. But if they want it, I'm going to give it to them. I try to, as much as I can after a fire, maybe talk about 2 or 3 nuggets, about what we did. But like the other day, man, I had a blast with those 3 companies, just getting to go out and go over a few things. And I thought about it, like, regardless of who it is. Like, I mean, I'm just regurgitating, Gustin and Norman and, McGrail and
all those mentors.
Yeah, stuff and fires that I've been to, obviously, too. But what if we did that every single shift? Somebody did some type of drill like that. What would we elevate to, right? Because, see, the problem is we're not forced, like our job's not on the line. And we're not trying to win the trophy. We're not trying to win the NBA Finals or the Super Bowl or the World Series, but we ought to be, because people's lives depend on how good we are. How fast can you force the door? How fast can you mask up? How good are you at oriented searching? How good are you running the 461 or the cutter's edge or the, Husqvarna? Like, all this shit matters. I mean, how good are you throwing a 24-foot ladder? How good are you climbing a ladder with a K-12 on your back? Like, what are your sets and reps? Like, I mean, how many times have you done it?
Beautiful, brother. It's absolutely. Last one I'm going to throw at you from the audience. Last one, and I'm going to get to. I love this one. It's coming from Tailboard Misfits. He wants to know, Chief, as a leader, you have gained an incredible amount of influence over the years. What is your biggest key to gaining influence?
I wasn't looking for it. I tell you what, I get emotional, and I've told my 3 kids this a lot. Pressure's privilege. There's a lot of pressure on you. Pressure to perform, pressure to lead, pressure to be emotionally intelligent. It's a privilege because not everybody has pressure on them. They're lonely. They don't have a why. So I wasn't looking for the pressure, but when the pressure started pouring on, I took it as a privilege because I love the job. Somebody would want to listen to me. My father was like a huge influence on me teaching at a young age. He told me if I got on the job and I got hurt, I could go in the training division. That's why I wanted to go to fire inspector school, because if I got hurt 1 year on a job, I could go be a fire inspector. And at the end of the day, like on this job, man, if you're teaching, you're learning. See, you're teaching yourself. And I wasn't ever looking for influence. Like, I just wanted to be better at the job. I didn't want to be sitting on the bench. Like, people, when I worked in Pensacola Fire Department, like, people would get mad because if Chief Baker was working and I was working, like, they never called second alarms extra companies. But if there was a bad extrication and Rescue 31 wasn't on it, Chief Baker had to Rescue 31. Because George Foss and I were on there. He's a paramedic. I was a geek for extrication all through the 90s because of some bad wrecks. One of them was a soccer player that had to cut out that died a mile from my house. I went to the George Extrication School, man. I geeked out on it. So I made myself where I was an asset because I wanted to be in the game. I wanted to be like in soccer where they call up somebody and they say, hey, can you guess? They call it a guest player. I want to be the guy that's the first up for a coach to call as a guest player. And the more I trained and the better I got and the better I could perform on a fire ground, I realized that bosses and chiefs would get me in the game. I hadn't been staged very much in my whole career. If there's a job, I'm in on the action, right? And so that pressure, I embraced it with privilege. But, I've said on the scraps before, I think one of the best books you can read is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We talk about law of influence, the law of the lid, and, I'm not going to read them all to you. But I wasn't seeking to be anybody. Read my article in the New Yorker. I wasn't seeking to be anybody. I want people to fucking leave me alone. I got tired of people harassing me about my radio strap, buy my own tools. Oh, Ike goes on vacation. He probably stops by them firehouses. So he don't know this is just a fucking job. You know what? But I'm laughing now, not them. Because it's been a fulfillment for me. I mean, I just love going to bad calls. Now, I don't like people dying. And if you know me, man, it has caught up to me over the years. I'm sick of seeing, people messed up. But I want to keep going because I like the pressure of hopefully making a difference, either through the people I work with, myself, preparedness, and doing. But the conferences, I don't even have time to tell you. The conference, I've told it before, the conferences came based on a fire chief getting fired, some shit changed at Escambia. I was no longer allowed to teach. Before the conferences, we were doing all kinds of stuff at Escambia. Mike Lombardo was coming and teaching for free at Escambia. And a guy named Bob McLaughlin, who was the county administrator, called me to his office and he said, Chief, best thing you do is come to work, do your shift, and you teach other places. And so County Fire Tactics, CFT, was born out of Kenny Perkins getting fired February of 2009, and I could no longer do training, so I had to go seek something else. Created CFT, created Fire Conference, and then where it is today, I wish I could tell you I had some business plan. There wasn't no business plan. We were bankrolling conferences. We were opening the next one to pay the last bill. And it was because the more we did it, the more I thought, this is pretty damn cool, man. We're bringing people to my town, to my beach. Firefighters that want to can come for free. And then I realized, well, shit, man, I got a bunch of people I'm friends with that own restaurants out here. They're cooks or they're bartenders. And they started saying, this is awesome, Curt, man. In December and January and February, we're broke, man. There's nobody out here, and 300, 400, 500, 600 firefighters drinking for 4 nights. You know what? It does make a difference for us for the week. And so, to be honest with you, man, there wasn't no business plan. I wasn't looking to influence nobody. I just wanted to go to fires. I just want to train. I just want more people to be in the job. I want people to be proud to wear any type of fire department t-shirt. I don't want somebody to be embarrassed when they go to a Christmas party with their significant other and everybody there is some other job and you're not proud to say, I'm a firefighter. I've always been proud. I'm going to be proud, with my kids, my firefighters or whatever they, do. So when people are seeking to have influence or they're seeking to be popular or whatever, they usually don't get there, man.
Right.
Anybody that's impacted the fire service, Lombardo, or any of those, a gazillion people, that a bunch of people been on scrap, they just people like you and I, Corley. They love the job. That's it. It wasn't. They're not trying to. I'll be honest with you. I fucking broke my phone 2 Thanksgivings ago. 3930581. Thousands of firefighters had it. I was done. I got a new phone number. I gave it to you, and I give it to people I'm friends with. But there was a point where I can't, I couldn't keep up with the messages on Messenger. Sometimes now I'll wait 2 or 3 days to reply back because if not, I'd just be on my phone. I would say in the last year, I've left my phone on the kitchen counter, on my nightstand, in 1 year. In the last year, more than I did 10 years combined before. I disconnect from my phone. It's not that I love the fire service, but I got to mentally take care of myself, and I can't. I no longer can train somebody via Facebook or through Messenger. And I'm going to get back to doing the doc videos and a little different format. And so I took kind of a break because I don't want people to think I'm too bipolar, right? So when I come back, it's going to be a little bit more emotionally intelligent. I'm going to still get off the chain a little bit, off the wheels. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be Simon Sinek or anything. But, you know, so I really can't answer that question other than I wasn't looking to have influence. Just like when we did the conferences, man, I turned Brandon Dunn down with Fire Station Furniture. Todd Edwards, he's the man. He manages all the CFT team shit. Jessica does, all the administrative and the registration. The truth is, man, I don't do much now until the conference gets here. I stand up on stage and have the opportunity to introduce people, as a whole. But, for me, I've had to step back, and I'm actually engaging more to Scambia. And I actually been turning every speaking job down for almost a year now. On the books for the next 18 months, I only have 4 speaking gigs. Everything else has been turned down. I would normally have, 20 or 30.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to open my calendar up until after this summer. Next year, I'm only going to open up 3 more opportunities because I want to work my shift at a Scambia, not shift trades, not swaps.
Right.
And we're just hiring so many people. And, my 2 boys might be coming on the job. I want to be there. And I don't know how much time I got left at a Scambia. Not because I want to retire. Shit, I don't know, man. Something can happen. But right now, my trajectory is I want to go out knowing that I put more in on my last years than I did my earlier years. Because I gave my life to a Scambia. The first 8 years, I gave my life to a Scambia. Like life. Like I lived there. I was going to fires all the time off duty, like trailer fires from my house. And I'm not going to be doing that because we're more staffing. But do I want influence there? Yes. I don't give a shit about influence across the country, but I want influence at a Scambia because I think we got the greatest fire department around. And I think we can continue to be greater as a whole. Now, I like to maximize whatever people think my influence is. Like my ADHD almost forgot where I was going. I turned down Brandon Dunn, and then Todd said, man, the guy wants to help us out. And then he came to BCBC, man. That guy's fucking badass. He owns the furniture company. And now I want to do my part to let him think he's getting more than he's giving me because he's sponsoring and paying for coffee. He's giving us furniture. And so if I have influence, and I do believe in this product, shit, this is what's in the cottage. It's what we sit in. I'm like, we got his office chairs in the other room. Elkhart brass. This is no bullshit, man. First nozzle I ever used as a kid. First nozzle I ever used. I traded it out from Midway. It's on a 6x6 rig called Little John. And then when I turned 14, the primary fires that I got to be on the nozzle were brush fires. So I went to a guy, David Burnett. He was the fire chief. And I took him a brand new nozzle, and it was a lightweight, just like this, but Acolyte. And so I have the first nozzle. So I've been using Elkhart my whole career. Elkhart is sponsored like FDIC the last 25 years I've been going there. And it's a great company. So I have influence, but I didn't work for Ford last week and say Chevy sucks, and now I'm working for Chevy and, vice versa. If I'm going to sponsor a company and use whatever influence I have, it's because I truly believe in the product. Right. It's not fake. Because I turn people down all the time. I've been wearing Morning Pride. My first set of bunker gear in 1988 was Morning Pride. My first set of custom fitted gear, I still have it. It's in my attic, was Morning Pride. I think Morning Pride makes the best, bunker gear. So I'm kind of spinning off of this question. If somebody, whether they're choosing to get influence in the fire service or they accidentally somehow get influence out of sweat, equity, investment, working their ass off, use it for the right reasons. Figure out, everybody's got to make a living, man. You got to pay for the power bill. You got to pay for gas. Figure out how your influence is going to impact fire departments, organizations, and make things happen. Key Hose is one of our top sponsors next to Elkhart. I told them, like, they gave us hose for H-Rock 10 years ago, a shitload. And I was like, I wasn't fully in. I wasn't fully in because I'm like, I got this influence, but I don't want to jump off the ship when all this stuff was going on, and then after year after year after year after year, and then Joey Hayes got the job, and I was like, I believed in Joey Hayes, and I already believed in Mark Lighthill, but now I've got over 10 years of positively knowing the product works. So now I'm not fake using my influence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Influence because I have an investment. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I really couldn't. I think Scott and MSA are both great. I'm not going to knock one or the other. I just think it depends on which model you're getting. So just to close out that thing, I wasn't looking for influence. Obviously, I have to acknowledge that it exists. With that, I have to try to be a little bit more mature. Sometimes, my obsession, my childness comes out because I love the job. And a lot of times I'm just misunderstood or misread, as a whole. And sometimes, if you're a speaker, sometimes you got to be dynamic, if you will, even though you don't necessarily mean, you're not trying to spit in somebody's face or be rude. You're just trying to get their attention. You're trying, that's what it's about. That's why the delivery, matters. But I think that people that love the fire service, once you have influence, whether it's influence over 1 or 1,000, make sure you're using it for the positive reason, because, some people don't even realize they have influence. And, if it can be a show in itself. I call it the Messi effect. Messi came to America. He plays for the MLS soccer team, Inter Miami. He broke Tom Brady, LeBron James. He broke every American athlete's record. Sold more jerseys in 24 hours than any other American athlete sold in history. The ticket sales went up 700% by the second match that he played. He went from Inter Miami, like having nobody follow him on Instagram. I think they're the number 1 MLS team being followed on Instagram over LA Galaxy, Seattle soccer team. And so that's one person, right? So we got to dumb that down. Yeah, we don't have Messi effect, but we have more fire department effect, Escambia County Fire Department effect, Sea-Watch effect, right? So figure out what it is, make the most of it. Use it for the right reasons. Always remember the law of the lid. Don't get outside your range, and try to be grounded. I don't try to act like I'm some damn leader. I make a shitload of mistakes. I screw up. Hopefully I compensate because I love the fire service. I love my people, and I'm going to take care of them. I want them to do good. I want them to feel good. I want them to go home, safe, if you will.
Right.
And I want to just make my part of the world better. That's it.
Boom. Dude, there you go, Tailboard Misfits. One of the best questions of the night. And there's been a lot of good questions and a lot of good answers from Chief Ike. So I'm going to move to, and you've been on, this is your 5th scrap. Congratulations. But
Thank
5th
you.
scrap. But you've been asked this question every time you've been on. Book or books that you think firefighters should be reading. And it's okay to repeat the earlier ones, because as the scrap has grown, some people will be seeing it that did not see the originals.
Well, I mean, every firefighter and company officer needs Champo's Tower Ladder book. Like, in the fire service, a lot of people have written a lot of great books. Most of the fire service authors that wrote a book, the book they wrote was so broad, and they worked so many ranks, engine, truck, rescue chief. Mike Champo's entire career has been ladder company operations. 44 truck. That's the tower ladder and all the paintings for any of you fire buffs. 45 truck, right? I mean, Mike Champo's Probie class was him, Liam Flaherty, and Andy Fredericks were all in the same. Just to give you a little fire buff history there. And he worked in D.C. in Wyckoff, where his family's from, and the real Champo, his brother John. They got a Seagrave tower ladder. So many volunteer departments got a tower ladder. He's worked on Tower 44, Tower Ladder 40. Like, that book is written by a guy, 40 years of ladder company operations, fire engineering training minutes. Now he's got Tom Brennan's back page. So, like, if your fire department is going to fires, whether you have a tower ladder or a straight stick, you need the tower ladder. His tower ladder book. I mean, it's like real world firefighting. It's like you got to have it. You know, leadership books. Chief Leaves book. Trevor just finished it last week. And the other same books. I always say the Chief Clark and the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. John Norman's Fire Officer Handbook. There's a gazillion, good books out there, but, just getting basics, man. Like I brought it up one time before. I don't have it here. It's over in the closet. The old NFPA Engine Company Operations book. It's like a turquoise green. It's not real thick. I mean, it's a great book. It's like 35 years old.
Right.
Truck company, book's great. If you're into this job and you're not getting FDTN, News Weekly thing once a month, it's crazy. You got to be doing a little bit of, reading. I'm not as good as I used to be. I used to get 7 publications in the mail years ago. And my goal was to read just one article out of each publication. So, like I just fire engineering. I read the back page.
Right.
I would read other articles, but my thing was Fire Chief Magazine. Janet Wilmoth was the editor. Like if all I did was read Janet Wilmoth's editorial, I at least read an article out of Fire Chief, Fire Rescue, right? NFPA Journal, the West Coast. And I think I learned more from just a lot of 1-page, 2-page, 1,500, 2,000 word articles over a 30-year period. I think that's where the power is in the fire service. Whether it's reading a recent article from Sean Duffy or Scott Thompson or whoever, man, there's so many great people in the fire service putting out some great information. And you just got to sit down and read it, man. Like at the kitchen table, laying in bed at night. It's those little bitty nuggets. Like I said, the 1 hour per shift, 120 shifts, an article a shift, 120 articles. It's a lot of stuff.
No doubt about it, brother. Love it. And that's it. And I love Chief Lieb. He has that slide where he puts up and talks about his mentor, his very first lieutenant, I think, who told him read something fire service related every day.
Absolutely. 100%, man. You got to.
Yes.
It's the only way.
And that's that, you want to look at somebody who's done it, who's lived it, and then you can see the impact it's had on his career and the impact he's had on so many. So absolutely, which takes us to one of my favorite parts of the scrap. You've done this many times before. I don't know if you're aware of the 5 questions as they stand right now, but
I do not.
Good, because this will be coming at you. This will be coming at you kind of blind. So, are you ready for the latest version of the 5 questions for firefighters?
Yes, I am.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, you know the rules. The questions. There's no right or wrong answer. It's only your opinion. And the audience and myself will help score them. So here we go. Number 1, what is the skill that has carried you through your fire service career?
Passion, whether you want to call it a skill or not, passion, man. Loving the job, a no apology approach. I like people to like me. That's great. But I love the job too much to let somebody talking behind my back influence my decisions. And I do got to share this because this is kind of like a leadership lesson. If a chief is making decisions as a fireground commander based on what somebody might fucking say at another firehouse that night or the next day at dinner, they don't fucking need to be a chief. Number 1 priority of a fireground commander, a battalion chief, eliminate all complacency on the fire ground. Number 1 job of a line chief officer is eliminate complacency. When a boss don't want to breathe air, you tell them to breathe air. When they don't want to stretch a line, tell them to stretch a line. When they don't want to force a door, tell them to force a door. You're eliminating complaint. You're eliminating when they want to cut corners and be lazy. That's what you're there for. And then how do you do that? Be passionate. Give a shit. Want to do it right every time. Dot the I, cross the T, and make it right, even when you're tired. Passion. You know what? And I wake up some days frustrated, but I'm going to tell you what, man, I love this job. Like, I can't even explain how much I love it.
I love the answer, Chief. Here's what I love about the answer. He said passion. He thought about it. He thought about it. He said passion. Then he said passion, passion, passion. And then on top of that, he gave a passionate story to back up the passion. And so absolutely easy max points. And the audience absolutely agrees. There's tons of fire emojis, tons of max points. And this is something you have to do, Chief. It'll take a while before YouTube catches up because it has to post, and it'll be like a day later, 24 hours later, but you'll be able to go back and read. There's about 400 or 500 comments. I don't know when you'll get the time to read them all, but there is a ton of good ones on what you've said today. You'll have to go back at some point and catch up. Max points so far. Question 2. It's Jobtown. It's time. You are en route and responding. You got to think of the scene where Stephen McCaffrey's running to jump on the rig because he was late, and that driver slaps that tape into that cassette deck, right? What song are you choosing to play while you're en route?
Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower.
Watchtower. How come I should have known that?
Well, I played it in my class at firemanship in Portland.
Okay. You played it here in OKC.
If you read the lyrics, man, it goes on with a fire service. Like, shit, I talked about identifier, and you know what I mean? The time is getting late. I mean, like, what the fuck are we waiting for, dude? Like, let's get this shit done.
But I love it. I love it. You played it here in OKC, and that's when I first heard you break down the lyrics. Absolutely. Max points. Easy. I should have seen that coming. Number 3, what is your favorite fire service tradition?
Picking up hose. All hands pick up. Everybody at the rear of the rig putting their hands on hose. Dude, like, even today, I could look down the street, whether it's 4 or 20 people loading hose in the back of the rig, man, it puts a smile on my face. Like, I don't know what it is. I've always liked loading hose. I just think loading hose is cool as shit, man. I just, like, that's the sign of work. We did some work. We did a job. We stretched. We float. I love water. Like that, like the tradition of like everybody at the back of the rig was FDNY. Like, that's what we do at Escambia, man. Like, you know, the lieutenants sometimes will go off to the side and they'll talk about what they did, but a bunch of people all together talking, smoking, joking, whatever. And I try not to rush them because, like, that's their chance to talk to each other. They just can't go to the other firehouse and sit there. I mean, they gotta stay in their first due. So that's the time you give them a chance to like, you know, talk a little bit, you know? So absolutely, man. Like, sometimes I think I don't even realize. I think I subconsciously ordered hose lines to be stretched just so there's more hose to pick up.
I was going to ask, is it, do you love it because it means hose was put on the ground?
Absolutely.
Right. No,
when in doubt, stretch another line, man. Stretch one for you, me, and the brother just to be safe.
I love it. Max point. And it all ties back to that first answer, passion. All right, this one's on the clock. I don't know if you've had this one before. This one's on the clock. This is the Mount Rushmore of the fire service. According to you, you get to put 4 people on the Mount Rushmore of the fire service, but you only get 1 minute to do so. So, your Mount Rushmore of the fire service, Curt Isakson, and go.
Like for an engine company or a truck, or how many people?
Curt Isakson's 4 people he gets to put on Mount Rushmore of the fire service.
Bill Guston, absolutely. Mike Lombardo, absolutely. I said him last time, but I'm going to say him again. Bob Hoff. Andy Fredericks.
That's hard to argue. I don't think anybody will argue whatsoever with those 4. Guston, Lombardo, Hoff, and Fredericks. And you did it in 33 seconds. Actually, shorter than that, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Hoff was, big training chief in Chicago, special operations, line chief for a long time. Lombardo was a truck captain. Guston's a suburban engine type, guy, and Andy Fredericks was a nozzle firefighter. So they all kind of make up a company too, which is kind of cool.
It really is, man. Final question. You've answered this question, I believe, 5 times 5 times, because this is the question that never changes. There is heavy fire. There is searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
Nozzle. Yeah.
Easy answer.
I mean, somebody like, you know what, man, like somebody else can get that grab. Like, I'm a geek for water mapping and without seeing, man, I've been trained, taught by some of the best. And then now we got the water mapping prop that UL's done. And like I can close my eyes and I can tell you where that water's going. You know what I mean? And so I think I would be a better asset to be on the nozzle, because I think I appreciate and value how important that hose line is, and the fact that water creates and maintains survivable space. Water's the equalizer. Water can buy back time. And, you know, with that, I'm going to give the other person a greater chance of making that grab and them successfully getting them out without causing, you know, secondary harm from dropping steam, heat, pushing fire, so on and so forth. So I think I would be more value to the team on the hose line and in charge of suppressing the fire while somebody else does the search, makes the grab, and figure out what kind of damn strap they're going to use to drag them out.
I love it. And that makes it officially 250. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. 250 scraps in the books. One of the easiest max points, 5 for 5 max points I've ever given out. Chief Curt Isakson, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do so?
Easy. Just, you can go to countyfiretactics.com or just chiefike.com, chiefike.com, which pulls up my email address, all my articles from Firehouse Magazine, my different podcasts. Chiefike.com is the easiest, because then you just click on my email and it pulls it up. You just email me at CF Tactics. And just reminding everybody, it'll actually shut down at midnight, because I didn't know if we were going to go till midnight. So you got an hour and 23 minutes to buy the Gold Pass of all time. CFT Gold Pass, 9 conferences, 3 of them 5 days, ODP, COBC, Water on the Fire, 9 fire conferences, $950. It's double the benefit of what CFT 100 was. And then the other one is the CFT Mentor, which is the 4 conferences for $275. It's like, that's just crazy. I mean,
insane.
4 conferences for $275. So you got an hour and 23 minutes, so it's over with. And we couldn't do that if it wasn't for Elkhart and Key Hose, Identifier, you know, Morning Pride, Fire Station Furniture, Columbia Southern, and they all, I hope, they support and sponsor you too. Curly.
Absolutely. No,
it's the same people. They're making these companies. Not only they make good products, they're supporting fire service training. They're making shit happen for us.
Absolutely. Hey, call your crews up and say, hey, let's split this. Are you guys in? And get in on it. I promise you, no one has ever gone to a CF Tactics conference and at the end of it said, man, I'm sorry I went here. No one.
Yeah.
I mean,
most of those, on average, the hotel rates start at $99, $109. There's only 2 of them that cost more than $129 a night. That's the COBC, because it's, you know, it's beautiful weather, and they start at $149. They give us half off the hotel rooms on Pensacola Beach. They kill us, man. And then all the discounts and wristbands. You know, so many people make the world go round, and we got to value the trash man. Let the trash man not come for 2 months, and you'll appreciate them. And, you know, I say it all the time, these conferences, the people that make it happen is crazy. Not just these businesses, but like Pensacola Beach, the Hilton letting us flow water. It's like so many great people in society, and it's so easy to walk around negative, but we ought to be walking around positive, because just a lot of great people out there, and people still love firefighters. They love the fire service.
Firefighter Jim Fred said, I drank too much caffeine for this short Ike scrap. Hey, we're approaching 3 hours. We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's not, man, absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. Audience. Okay, let me get the rest of the housekeeping done. Chief Ike has graciously agreed to give us a few more minutes and come be a part of the after party. So you can come in there. Vigilantes can come in there. You can roast him and tell him how terrible he did on sharing his passion tonight. We always threaten to roast the guest. We never deliver on that, but it is a good time. If you want to be a part, be a vigilante. Go to firehousevigilance.com. If you don't know what the Vigilantes is, shame on you. Coming up on the scrap next week, it is B.J. Breacher. Following that, Brian LaFleur, then Micah Horton, and then Richie Stack. So the 2024 is just continuing with the more and more badass lineup. You do not want to miss these episodes as we keep 2024 rolling in style. Thank you, Curt Isakson, for being such a phenomenal guest. Vigilantes, if you're going to be a part of the Scrap After Party, look for the link in the private group, Patreon and Facebook. Sam is posting it as we speak. Hopefully we'll have some Jimi Hendrix playing as we log in there. Audience, I cannot say this enough, man. There were so many people waiting for the scrap to kick off at 250. You guys showed up, you showed out, you brought your passion, you threw right down the pipe to Curt so that he could knock him out of the park. I loved your questions. You guys make the scrap magical 100%. And I can't thank you enough for tuning in and week out, 250 weeks in a row. There it is.
I'm not going to let you. That's a private message to me from you, but it's behind me. You couldn't see it because a lazy boy.
I love it. I absolutely love it, man. Everybody, I love you all. Thank you for being here. 250 episodes in the books. Remember, just like Chief just said, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tone stays silent unless it is burning. Everybody stay safe out there. Chief,
I just got to grab me a 38 beer.